I think I know what this is. You see, Stan, as you get older, things that you used to like start looking and sounding like shit. And things that seemed shitty as a child don't seem as shitty. With you, somehow the wires have gotten crossed and everything looks and sounds like shit to you. It's a condition called being a cynical asshole.
Oh no.
Yes. And there's no known cure, I'm afraid. Everything just seems shitty and everyone starts to seem shitty and everything they say just starts to...
It stinks. It stinks. It stinks.
Yes, Mr. Sherman, everything stinks.
Don't ask questions. Just consume product and then get excited for next products.
Desperate. Your turn.
Desperate.
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 Whoa, that's a cool suit. Where can I get one of those?
Patience, child. Patience.
All we are is dust in the wind, dude. Dust. Wind. Dude. Aim for the cat, dude. Aim for the cat. I'm trying, Evil Ted. I'm trying.
Leave them to me. Have you not? All too easy.
What? You hate to do it, but at the same time, it's hilarious. Hello and good evening, everyone. Welcome to episode 39 of Saturday Night Sith. I am, as always, one of your hosts, Fractured Filter, or as I'm going by now, Fractured Pumpkinhead. With me, as always, my co-host, Jay Hitman. How are you tonight, sir?
We're your hosts. We're here. That's all that matters.
Exactly.
Oh, God.
Exactly. And you can already hear the pain.
Oh, my. Yeah. Welcome. I'm excited yet angry for this show because, each time we sit down and we watch whatever we're watching, in the back of my head, I'm like, there's absolutely no way that it can get as bad as the last thing that we watched, whether it's Book of Mando, Book of Boba.
There's
Mando,
always something
Bad
to
Batch.
make it worse, right?
I don't know about you, but I go into it and I'm like, there's no way it can get any worse than it was. And there's no depths that the trash panda won't go to uncover.
Well, what's funny is this is like what for this Andor episode, it would. I mean, as far as I know, he didn't have anything involved with this episode in this show. So that's why for my thumbnail is him going, wait, who went through the dumpster? Who went through the EU dumpster? What the hell?
And I know it's just like, I was been trying to up my game, and I was going through watching some of the people I watch, like you and I both, I think we're on the same page with Raging Rhino. I go out, I like to
I haven't checked his reviews and
you
stuff
need
yet.
to.
Mainly because it's like before going into our show, I want to at least have my perspective clean of any other anybody else's, reviews and stuff like that. So I don't want to seem like my reviews are ever being influenced by anyone else. Like, I'm just like, if I happen to be saying things that are on the same path as other people, okay, that's just how it's working out. But otherwise, I do try and go at it from my own perspective. And I had watched Script Troopers review of the first 3 episodes, and we differed on what I've said, what I certainly pointed out when we did our review. So I got some of that.
I just needed to like vent after like 4 hours of trying to watch this episode. It wasn't 4 hours, but it was very, very long, and everybody will realize why it took so long when I break down my notes.
It didn't take me as long as getting through the 3 episodes naturally, but it did. It took me it took me a day or so to finally start watching it.
Well, I've been on vacation this week, so when you text me on Wednesday, I was like, nope, not doing it. I'm not gonna watch it. And then Thursday came
I am having nothing to do with this.
Thursday rolled around, I was like, nope, not doing it. I'm on vacation. Then I realized Thursday, I was like, oh dear, if I don't do this now, and like it's terrible. Like they need to stop releasing on Wednesdays. Like it pisses me off because like literally you release this on Wednesday and you literally give me like 2 days to watch this. Like because I'm not gonna do it Friday night. I won't do it Friday nights. I just won't do it. But I was just like, I gotta watch this. So like,
yeah,
I had to run errands. So like I'm doing my stuff and trying to get through this. Just this terrible. I finally just parked and I was like, I'm not going to move from this spot until I either like the cop is going to write me a ticket or I'm physically gonna get.
Somebody comes out and goes, "Sir, what are you doing right now?"
At that point in time, I would please write me, please take me to jail for something because I don't want to watch this.
Like, is there a law against me watching a Star Wars show? Please tell me.
I will feel
like I need to be locked up.
I will come up with a charge for you to formally charge me if it gets me out of watching this. This episode, it was just like. I think if I break this down like 1, 2, 3, 4, if I was to say, if anything, if there was one show that was good, or one episode that outshone the others, it was 3.
Yeah, that's
from a pace perspective.
I mean, this was unfortunate because I was catching up and watching another live. I was watching the Friday Night Tights live stream, and they briefly talked about Andor, and even Ryan Cannell, who we watched do the or listen to him and Tim from Open Airlock talk about.
Oh, I thought they were
the
listening to our
Bong.
show. I was about to get excited. What? Ryan
No, but I was listening to it was kind of interesting just to hear him actually say, yeah, they've been competent with this show, but that's about as much as they would say on the matter, really. Other than that, and yeah, but
I think you said it last show, and I will say,
and I did kind of agree a little bit. I'm like, yeah, there's some competency with this show, but it
does not look like we are watching something that's taking place at a rock crushing plant in the back of
California. It actually looks like they've taken some care into putting together the sets and stuff like that. But but there's
only two things that I will kind of not even been the need to, but I will give them.
Concede. You'll concede a bit of a point.
I hate that word.
I know it's another horrible thing to say, but
I will concede the fact that in the only thing that is Star Wars in this these 4 episodes or this show is the TIE Fighter, which sounded kind of different. It was kind of it sounded like it was reminiscent of a TIE Fighter. Sound a little bit different.
It was part of my notes too. Was like there's just something about that TIE Fighter sound effect that is just
it goes back to like what you've said the past 38 episodes. We've done this. It's nostalgia. it's you hear it like
that's why they set these shows and stuff during certain time periods so they can make sure and grab you. With those nostalgic sounds and just being able to get you with that and make you forget for a moment that you're watching a Disney Lucasfilm product.
If nobody believed that I was a Star Wars fan, like literally my text notification is the TIE Fighter. So when I watched this, I thought you were texting me. I thought Braun has like Fractured's texting me right now because he's trying to throw me an olive branch and have me not watch this. And I thought you were like, nope, wasn't my. I checked my phone. Nope, wasn't my. Nobody was texting me.
This was another funny thing in relation to the TIE Fighter sound effect. It was because I've been kind of bouncing into the Star Wars Galaxies emulators again. I just sometimes will find myself just kind of sitting around either in Mos Eisley or something like that, and I'm just listening to this. And this is what I remember from during the days of the live when the game was live and I was first playing it, is just hanging out and listening and hearing the beat bops of the droids, the other little sound effects of players running around doing things, and then there's also just the fact of like where certain planets are either controlled by the Republic or the Rebels or the Empire. Of course, when they're controlled by the Empire, you occasionally get the sounds of TIE fighters flying overhead, and man, there's just something about all that going on, all the ambiance and stuff going on, and I'm like, this is really freaking comfy.
People, I've heard people fall asleep to like their TV. They'll fall asleep to music. There's white noise, black noise.
I fall asleep to music. Yeah,
I fall asleep to the old Star Wars Galaxies.
I need to find. You know what?
No,
now
I'm
that
serious.
You're saying that, I'm gonna try and find like a
I'm not
channel that has like just the Star Wars ambiance and just
download
that for my phone.
I mean, I'm not as crazy as I'm not treating like the whole like Sith and as a religion. Like there's people out there that they treat it as a religion. Well, that I'm not obviously doing that, but like there are YouTube channels where you can just listen to like, I don't know if it's like a lot of like KOTOR, if they have like a lot of the gameplay on code. I don't know where they get it, but it is very reliable. There's just something about listening to a lightsaber cut off somebody's arm at night.
Like I've found some channels that have like a whole like 3 hours or 8 hours or whatever set up of it in this instance being sound effects of the rain for one, but then also with the added background sound effects of dinosaurs from Jurassic Park.
Yeah,
so you get the occasional T-Rex roaring in the background or the Brachiosauruses and stuff like that. And there, for some reason, I have found even that just very relaxing.
Reason like this, going to Kashyyyk, even on KOTOR, it was, just something.
Well, and then like the music for that and stuff like that, yeah. That's one thing I really remember about KOTOR is Dantooine and its music on that planet.
Yeah.
And just probably because I spent a lot of time there between like my buddy and I taking turns, because that's how I learned about that game was from him, and he'd let me play it for like a couple hours or so and then I would play it, and I got to Dantooine, and man. Yeah, again, the music, everything was just a great combination.
Segue into, one thing I think we may have brought up on the other last episode, but it's like, there's nothing, like, why do they not use, like, if Dave is so good, we all know he loves animals, and he goes to Salt Lake, and I honestly believe that he thinks his spirit animal is, when he's not Ahsoka, he's a trash panda, right?
That's certainly our
Why not, if you're creating something, Star Wars show, why not make it feel like it's actually Star Wars? There's nothing.
Well, I mean, that was our big complaint,
but even
in the
like
first
with
episode of this show,
for sure. But even in this episode, like, and this one I want to get your thoughts, there's nothing, like I said, there are literally 3 things that made me think StarArs, and I can't even believe that I'm conceding, but there are 3 things, right? The TIE fighter, one,
right.
We got the swoop bike with no scout trooper on it.
Right. I didn't even consider that.
The swoop bike, and then the irritable bowel syndrome uniforms, the Imperial, the white.
Yeah. For
those
the
are literally
Imperial service, whatever.
Right. And the only, like, and we're going to pray that they're smart enough to get their, what do you call it? Their we talked about last show. They're what are they? The signets on their chest.
The little the officer bars.
Yes. We'll pray that they have enough I can't even say the word. Oh my goodness, I'm having
competency.
Yes, competency to get that correct. But they're like 3 things. But like,
I believe they did.
There's stuff throughout the show. There's scenes that was very reminiscent of like the battle Halcyon Star Cruiser. Like it does. Like there's just
you're noticing some stuff that I didn't. That's interesting.
Yeah, well, I don't know, but there just as I was watching, I was like, there's literally 3 things in this that like, my God, this dude is shaving with a pocket knife and he doesn't cut himself. Like,
he managed to pull that off without a nick, right?
I'm going to tell a story and I'm going to incriminate myself. So many moons ago, I may or may not have been associated. But I won't even say that. I was a part of age. So I had to shave. I walked into work one day and I didn't shave and I was forced to shave. Like my boss was like, if you don't get out of if you don't leave and come back without that thing on your face, like you're going home for the day. Right? And it was I'm not gonna say what my job was to protect myself, but I had to leave. And I had to shave. I had to go to the local gas. I had to go to the local. I went to a local gas station, and I had a boot knife that I carried.
Did you really?
And this is a true story. I'm not going to say what my job was, but I had to be clean shaven. I'll just say that. And I had missed a day of shaving, so like I went to the gas station. I pulled out my boot knife, and I had put soap on my face and I had to shave. And let me tell you,
at a gas station,
because I lived like I couldn't, like I had, like this wasn't a job where I could just call in, like you had to go, like it was
right.
It was a public service. It was public. I'll say that it's a public service field. And I couldn't go home because I lived like 45 minutes away from where I needed to be. And so I was like, oh, I guess I'll go to this gas station. It was where I had to be able to go to work at this time. And so anyways, I went to the gas station. I had to shave. Let me tell you, I had left that gas station with more toilet paper on my face than somebody's butthole after eating Taco Bell.
Oof. That's a hell of a
it's just
thing.
like, but then I just see that like the scene here, like you shaving with a pocket knife. And then, just glorious wigs that don't look like wigs, that actually look like your own hair, but somehow it's supposed to be a wig.
Right. I didn't even take that into account of how he just kind of gave himself such a quick little
very quick. I will say this, the graphics, at least, well, in this episode, it looks like they've taken more time, they've put more effort, I think, into like this scenery, the minus the whole hyperspace thing that we saw a lot. That was just atrocious. That was terrible. Bad Batch does it better, and it's an animated show.
That kind of sad too.
It is, but I don't know. I just there's not a lot that reminds me of Star Wars. I guess. I don't know.
I mean, it's all very kind of like, it's all very superficial stuff. It's just the looking, and there's none, like I said, none of the
what did you say last show? You said this literally could be, well, you said it was a skin.
It was a show wearing Star Wars as a skin suit. That is just in appearance only, and there's nothing else that's really capturing it, because there's none of the same either music or sound effects or just kind of the stuff that draws you in and going, oh yes, this is Star Wars.
The other thing you said that was interesting was that this could take place anywhere, and I agree. Like, I don't know if I'm watching Galactica. I don't know if I'm watching Star Trek, I know I'm not watching Star Trek.
It could practically be like a lot of different like shows, different, not even like sci-fi, but I mean, it's very, And well, I want to save that for when we do the review.
I will say I'm very glad that they spared us more of the well, like we didn't have any flashbacks with no subtitles, trying to decipher
Yeah, we were
dialect.
spared that, weren't we?
But it's like, well, we're going to spare you with these flashbacks, but you still have to watch. And why can they be consistent? Why there's like some like 36 minutes to like 42 minutes to 37 minutes to 49 minutes. It's like that's not.
Yeah, it was kind of a weird jump for
and like it was like 9 minutes or so. It's kind of like 7 to 9 minutes are like just freaking credits.
Yeah. Basically,
either the opening scene that's literally 4 minutes long, the opening scene, the opening Andor.
Just showing the name Andor, and that was part of my notes too. Is this just showing the name Andor takes itself like 2 minutes, maybe almost 3, and it's like, what are you people doing?
So I guess realistically, it's like watching an episode of Bad Batch, maybe a little bit longer. With the credits,
it was just a little hair short longer than Bad Batch. Yes,
I don't know how we want to. If we want to go over articles first, or if we want to do do the review first and then do the articles.
Well, okay, no.
What do you want to do? For the sake of
consistency? No, I do want to, because part of at least one of the articles that we have
ties in.
It kind of sets up, because. Maybe we'll just go into that one first, because this is the thing. I could have just gone into watching this episode and had no other outside external influences on my thoughts on how the characters were portrayed. Yeah. I certainly got my impressions, but when this comes out, and I'll share it now since we're gonna be getting into this.
Yeah.
So the show's creator, writer, yada yada yada, opens his fat goddamn mouth. So Andor creator Tony Gilroy says he views Mon Mothma as sort of a Nancy Pelosi character. And so this is where I'm certainly just separating the two. Is okay, we've got our Disney Star Wars Mon Mothma, who is apparently an alcoholic that can't make speeches, slurs at all chances, watching a republic die before her very eyes and helping its death, which she technically does in the sequel trilogy. She basically helps at least I think, but certainly it was negligent so much as letting the First Order rise to power and blow up a whole bunch of planets. So, that's great. But yeah, so this is Mon Mothma now.
I mean,
who like even in her state of California is foul mouthed.
But this is a thing. Like, this is now the second, probably the second stupidest thing I've ever heard. So one, it was it Filoni or Favreau, one of the two idiot brothers, saying that they basically act in the season 3 of Mandalorian as a what was it? Ahsoka? I keep saying it was.
No, it was. So that was Rosario Dawson was saying that from her, she said this was her apparent experience that Dave Filoni was feeling like it was a religious experience watching back to like something from the Ahsoka show. So that's
number one dumbest thing I've heard. and then this to say that like you could have just casted her. Like, oh my God, Pelosi's old enough to where she probably lived in the old Republic days. Like, she's probably 245 years old. My goodness.
Well, and apparently the actress playing Mon Mothma took her inspiration from the.
If you say
was it Merkel from Germany, AOC, and the female leader of New Zealand? Which
so let's just it's like
not some great examples right there.
So we're gonna do these shows and we're just going to. And here's the thing: if you're conservative or you're liberal, whatever, right? But it's like I just find it very ironic that we're just going to hire just a whole every single person we hire is going to be liberal.
This is no. Well, this
and
is
we're going
even
to
just
fire
the
anybody
thing.
who's conservative.
This
And
is
if you
just the
don't-
thing, though. All they had to do was go out and promote the show. They didn't have to say anything other than, "Oh, hey, we're excited to do this." We're, talk about the story vaguely enough to make us interested in everything, and give the little bones tossed to go. This is kind of what's going to happen in the show. But instead, they all have to get on the political soapbox and go, "Oh, well, this is going to be, Trumpian era reflection, and my character's based off my performance for this character is based on these female leaders, yada yada." It's like, you don't need to do that. You don't give any impressions whatsoever on that. All we have to do is get the tidbits on the story that you're excited for it, yada yada yada. That's all. You don't need to go any further. Just promote your stupid Star Wars show.
Here's the thing, and this is not my personal subjective opinion. It's like the guy who plays Moff Gideon came out and made a political statement about basically you all need to get vaccinated. I don't want to work with anybody who's
he got
unvaccinated.
hit hard on the pro-vax crap.
Blah blah blah, and then Gina Carano was like, did her said her conservative. It was conservative. Like
it was.
It
was basic.
Like what she.
It was just basic for the how the use of media turns its people on each other, and governments that get corrupted doing so. That was what the whole point of all that was, and people were like,
it's like, am I just totally crazy? Am I crazy? Like, or are they legitimately hiring people that are of the same mindset of them?
Well, that's yes, that and
believe what you want to believe. I'm not saying believe what you want to believe. That's the beautiful part about living.
Well, and
where we live, right?
Razorfist, the YouTuber, he's done a video too where it's basically where it's saying, Hollywood's always been red, always been communist, therefore kind of also leftist. So he's tackled that in some great ways. If anybody wants to kind of check that out, because that would be a more better line than listening to me try and talk this shit. But it's been the mind is. No, this has been the mindset of Hollywood for a long or pretty much always has been. And you just have to look at it, and you actually have to kind of open your eyes a little bit more and start seeing just how they've gone about in attacking basically American culture, from family values to just the household structure to religion, you name it. They've found their ways of killing it hard. So
this guy Tony is basically like, I need to pull this up or enlarge it. But so this guy basically he's saying that this actor, whoever is
the actors from Mon Mothma. Well, he said for him writing or create or bringing this character into Andor, which.
That's like, what? It's like you and I. It'd be like for those old. I shouldn't say that because it could come back on me. But it would be like you and I saying like, she's taking her inspiration from AOC and all these other people. Is like we take our inspiration from Don Imus. And if anybody knows Don Imus and it's like, why is it? So it's like, why is it? It's okay for you to take these viewpoints from these people who other people question.
Yeah,
but it's like you and I who take, and I'm not saying that we take our view. I was saying that from trying to paint a picture, but it's like if we took our inspiration from X, this person and that person, and it's like, well, we're wrong because we're of the opposing mindset,
viewpoint,
a viewpoint, and it's like, but it's like a tired old dog, man. Just let old dogs lie. Like, stop making everything so freaking political. Like, I didn't mean.
Well, and that's kind of the funny thing.
Like, when I read this, it's so stupid.
And this is something like OG Star Wars has been pointing out is that yes, there is political themes in Star Wars, but the thing was that it was made for its universe. It wasn't bringing our world so much into it and being so obvious with the soapboxing for one side or the other.
It's like,
and yes, George later said, "Oh, it was inspired by," but that was, and we covered this before.
Yeah, but there's a difference between like this group of people. I took this group of people.
I'd say it only got really like a little heavy-handed prior to the selling when Filoni was making Clone Wars, like how we got Saw Gerrera, and we even had some characters with some a little bit on the nose name, like it was almost like the name was basically Halliburton. So did you ever I think a lot more of that became more obvious with the likes of Filoni.
Did you ever see that interview between George Lucas and James Cameron?
I've caught bits and pieces mainly when it was in regards to like his ideas for his sequel trilogy and the kind of weird midichlorian universe and stuff. It got kind of weird.
Or do we get into if we can find? If we don't have time to do it on, because I know we have a lot to cover.
We got as much time as we want to. Basically,
it was a brilliant interview between the two because it was James Cameron was asking them like the politicalness of Star Wars and I watched it and I think I'll have to filibust while I'm trying to find it. But let
me go over the article here and just get what Tony Gilroy is exactly saying on this whole thing. So doing no favor to the stereotype that modern creatives cannot look at the real world through anything but a lens of pop culture. Andor creator and showrunner Tony Gilroy has revealed that he considers recent series addition and longtime Star Wars mainstay Mon Mothma to be sort of a Nancy Pelosi character. Gilroy shared his opinion on the de facto Rebel Alliance leader. Wow, no mention of Organa there. That's sad. During a post-game interview given to IndieWire's Proma Khosla? I butchered that one. Following the September 28th premiere of Andor's fourth episode, Aldhani, noting Mon Mothma's appearance in the episode, wherein she is briefly seen, as portrayed by Genevieve O'Reilly, secretly meeting with Rael on Coruscant. I like saying Coruscant. To discuss rebel business. Khosla asked Gilroy if he could provide any insight into where she's at right now in her own rebel journey. To which he replied, "Anyone who follows the canon, she's sort of a Nancy Pelosi character, isn't she?" Huh? I don't see the relationship at all, considering Mon Mothma, for her consideration, is going up against the brilliant mind of Sheev, Palpatine, who duped an entire galaxy into following his lead, killing all the Jedi, practically wiping out the galaxy and starting a brand new galactic empire. These things are not the same. And Mon Mothma was supposed to be undermining him to some degree and keeping herself covert, that she's still acting out in the open. Nancy Pelosi can't string a full sentence together, let alone a rebellion. What kind of... Continuing on, she's kind of trying to do good or whatever she's trying to do, and she's losing. So you don't even know. You aren't even in... This guy doesn't even have enough conviction to say this is exactly what's going on. But floundering with, she's kind of trying, this is kind of whatever. I mean, I don't know. You don't. Okay, so now he just doesn't freaking know. So this is kind of feeling like a bunch of nonsense. Said Gilroy. She a powerful presence in the Senate, but she's facing defeat after defeat after defeat as the Empire is taking over here. Yeah, Bail Organa and Mon Mothma knew full well what they were walking into with this whole situation, and that was even why Bail makes the point, I believe, in... it had to have been the Revenge of the Sith book, where he's saying, you're going to be, or even in the movie too, he says, you're going to be potentially hearing about myself making some unlike me decisions to Yoda and to Obi-Wan, but just know that we will be trying to still fight and go against Palpatine, but just in a covert way. So he makes it very clear that they still have to act, and they know that this is potentially a very losing situation, but they'll do their damnedest anyways. At least that was certainly the impression I got out of all this, or out of all of that. So he continued, she's always presented as very proper and sober. Pelosi is not, and perfectly put together all the time in canon. And it just seemed like that was such a perfect opportunity to say, well, what's really going on behind here? It was very exciting to take a sort of still portrait of someone and throw it away and rebuild it behind it. Oh, so it's not just the previously slated male characters. Now Mon Mothma, she too gets to be deconstructed and royally hosed thanks to these freaking weirdos. I'm glad for the equal treatment here. Okay, you know what? I'll take that. Yeah, let's go. Let's see. It continues on. She has much more complicated life than anybody was ever aware, and in many ways of all the people that walk through this show and face all kinds of decisions and problems and pressures and the hiding and chasing and betrayal, she has to stand out almost in the open. Yes, she's in the open for the whole show in a really dangerous position. Well, that's the danger is only dependent on, if she allows herself to slip up. Gilroy concluded, in many ways, her story is the most tense story in the whole show because she has to do everything in the open. Gilroy is not the first member of Andor's cast and crew to draw comparisons between the series fictional characters and events with real world politics. In August, Marva Andor actress Fiona Shaw proudly told Empire that Tony Gilroy has written a great scurriest take on the Trumpian world. Our world is exploding in different places right now. People's rights are disappearing, and Andor reflects that. Last I knew, we all still had the same rights, but said the actress. In the show, the Empire is taking over, and it feels like the same thing is happening in reality too. No, in our reality, a bunch of states got the freedom and ability to make choices of their own state. That was it. That's how it's supposed to be. I was impressed by Tony's social realist intentions. Shaw further explained, he's created a whole new morality. Fucking hell. It's very deep and humane. There's grief, mourning, hope, fear. It's not just primary colors here. And that was, just the announcement of this too was just what got me. And I'm just like, now I can't look at this show in a different way, or at least certainly I can't look at her performance in a different way, because now it's going to be likening the two. And I could have just gone into this without anything, and I might have looked at this episode much differently too. So
like, I didn't read this article that you put on Discord, but even if I had it, like the Mon Mothma that we got in this show, I don't know. It's hard to say because someone can make the point.
The thing is that we've
only in the show for
we've only gotten a brief moment of her, and then a scene between her and her husband.
Expanded universe, though, they can say, well, Mon Mothma was only in Return of the Jedi, blah blah blah, and it's like, did you read any of the books?
Right, where she was a big player and also trying to the points of also rebuilding the New Republic, getting all the right people to cooperate with each other, all these trying to placate all these different alliances that they've made, and it was a big thing to navigate.
The way that you have literally just crapped on her chest. Like
Basically.
literally like to this is the woman who, like, she's not solely responsible for the birth of a rebellion, like, obviously, but she played
a big part,
a big part in it, and this is how she's acting. Like oh, it's hard for me to move money because they're watching me. Like, and then like Luthen is like, bro, they're watching everybody. Like, what are you like? It's just so hard.
That's what
like,
kind of made me laugh too. I'm
are you kidding me? Like, this is the one. This is supposed to be the woman that is staring down and spitting in the face of the rebellion, and she's like, "Well, they're watching me. I'm still good for it, but I'm having trouble transferring money. So I go into a bank, and there's a new person every day, and there's a new spy in the Senate every day." Like, what? But they did the same thing with freaking Bale. Like, in Kenobi. Like,
look at how they screwed him over.
Like,
legacy characters are not safe no matter who they are.
In what? in what are we living in? Like, again, I'm reading this Arrow by Jeff Lemire. He did a run with Arrow, and I'm watching the CW show because I'm comparing the two and just realizing how bad CW just screwed Arrow. But there was this episode, it's season 5, episode 8, where it's like, they do these crossover events with like Legends Tomorrow. These crossover events anyway. So like Oliver and the crew are like abducted by these aliens, and the aliens keep them in this alternate reality. And so like basically it's like a Flashpoint 2.0 where like everything that like nothing that has happened in the show like has actually happened. Like everything, they live in a perfect world, Oliver's marrying Dinah and all this and that. And it's like, but it's a literally an alternate reality. And that's how I feel right now. I feel like are we abducted and living in an alternate reality? Because like they literally portrayed Mon Mothma in this way, no different than they portrayed freaking Bale in the way that they portrayed him. Like, is this literally happening? Like Andor, and they're portraying Andor. Andor is the new Kyle Katarn without actually working for the Empire. But it's just like, have we been abducted? Is this a thing?
And
like,
spit into a new reality?
Like,
God, if only, right? If only that was the excuse.
You're on the other end of this computer. Like, what are your thoughts on it? Like, is this legit happening? Like you said, legend characters are not safe anymore. And like, I agree, but like
no character. Yeah, I said no legacy characters safe. I mean, look what's been done.
How can you do this? Like, how can you do this, and how can it make sense? Unless you're 17 years old, and the 7, 8, and 9 is the one is like 4 is your 4, 5, and 6.
Yeah.
How does this make sense? The Empire once. It's very reminiscent of a bygone era. The Empire once demanded. It didn't ask. It didn't say, "Hey, go ahead and give me this." Like, it demanded respect and fear. It instilled fear into you, right?
Right. Yeah.
It's laughable. Like, they only got a 40-man garrison because or a 40-man garrison of 40-man regiment because nobody would be stupid enough to steal the plans for them or to break in. It's like, you have painted this is your empire that you've now like, this is your empire. Like, it is almost laughable. It's laughable.
They've slowly been trying to turn it into a big joke. Not the era of intimidation or threat that this should be having, that they should have.
This Suzanne, who was the writer on this? The director, for whatever I'm thinking, Suzanne.
Director.
Who was it?
For this episode, or
just in general? Yes, this episode is specific, but I watched the credits. And I can't think of who was credited for this episode.
So for this episode, director Susanna White.
Okay. Let's tone it down. We'll bring it for those who watch Friends. Bring it down, Ross. Right? How do you justify saying well, there's only a 40-man regiment in the garrison because they know nobody would be stupid enough to, like,
right. That nobody would be stupid enough to come and attack this particular
are
base
you like
or whatever.
who is the slimy bastard that wrote this? And the like,
well, let's see. Writers Dan Gilroy and Tony Gilroy. So those are our targets of who wrote this shit.
Like, am I just ranting? Like, am I just spitting like ridiculousness of like it's the utter dualishness of like you have. In what world would Sheev like? It's just so stupid. Like, I can't even talk right now. Like,
it's certainly thrown you through a loop. Yeah. No, well, that's been a lot of my problems with certainly the new established canon, because I haven't, like I've stated this before, I haven't gone through all the content involving, you know, from the end of the Republic to the birth of the Empire on to, you know, the rebellion and stuff like that in the true EU. So I don't know how exactly they really set things up to still maintain that, you know, a rebellion got started, yes, which I mean they kind of George set that up and with a unfortunately it was a deleted scene, but we also got it full in the book about the whole, what was it, the signing of the 200 senator or 2000 senators or whatever for trying to get Palpatine to finally stand down basically from his position because he's been in power for way too long and stuff. So some of that got set up early at least, but to me, I always felt like that, you know, since he played such a game of, you know, extreme patience and maneuvering all the chess pieces into the right place so he could take over, have his the beginnings and everything for his galactic empire, that, you know, yeah, I could have seen things getting maybe seen as bad over time, but it certainly wouldn't have been right out the gate. At least that's always been my thoughts on it.
Even if nobody, like, even if the Empire stood there and said there's nobody that's going to challenge us, even if they had that mentality, that doesn't mean that they would not have contingencies.
Right.
To say, oh, nobody's going to challenge us, so we're only going to leave a 40-man garrison on a planet, like that is no. Like, this is
right.
Like, to take that viewpoint is to undermine everything that she did. And like this, you know, years ago you told me that like there was a planet, I think you were the one who's telling me that there was like a planet of troopers that like he forgot about, like, and I don't know if it was pre the clone the war between
not that they forgot about, but that was the
or there was a whole nother, like it was a whole nother
wasn't that in the Thrawn trilogy, the that he had the clone of Siobath guarding essentially, and yeah, it was like a whole cloning facility of clone era soldiers, if I recall right.
Yes, like like
I don't remember the name of the planet, but yeah, that was
Sheev that did that kind of stuff, that had those contingencies, does not fit. It's like it doesn't fit.
No, the brilliance and strategies and stuff like that of Sheev of his certainly his senator days did not seem to carry forward into his galactic empire days.
This is the guy that had like he made everybody think that the second Death Star was inoperable when it freaking was, like,
right,
like this
leaking false plans and stuff like that. Yeah,
but like, come on, guy, like, come on, man, Joe Biden, come on, man, like,
come on, man,
like, there's, I just can't, like,
I know, like, it's that, like I said, with the it kind of started, like I said, after the buyout, and then with in particular Star Wars Rebels was where they certainly started the downward spiral for showing the Empire's is extreme incompetence.
I never
like
saw
extreme.
I've never seen an obese imp under the reign of
no.
And pre 2012. I've never seen a fat imp. I'm not making fun of the guy that was in that role. I'm not. I'm just saying.
You're just making your observations and comparing it to what we know.
It's
you're
like,
being fair.
It's like everything happens when, like, depending on what country you live in, it's like when Justin Trudeau won, became prime minister, everybody was like, hashtag not my prime minister. When the Patriots won the Super Bowl, everybody was like, hashtag not my Super Bowl champs. When Trump won, it's like, hashtag not my president. It's like,
right.
So, I mean, it's hashtag not my empire, not my sheep.
Everybody likes to disavow something, it seems.
But it's like that was just the beauty of like, and I could be viewing this wrong. Like, the Empire for the longest time, like everybody that went up against the Empire got crushed, and that brought me joy, because that's like, oh, this is cute. Watch, they're gonna try to
right. They're gonna try and mess with the Empire. Oh,
you could never
look at that.
Right, you can never get one over on the Empire. They, generally speaking, on a consistent basis, right? But now it's like they've taken the Empire and they've injected the rebellion with like some type of Mirakuru type,
right? They've given them the super soldier serum, right?
To where now, like the Empire is not the formidable foe that we once grew up knowing. Like, now they're infallible, which, like I said, for donkey's years, the Empire has always been like, you're not going to get over on the Empire. You're not going to defeat them. You're not, like, this is why it was just a cowardism. It was like either cower or die, because you're not going to win. But now it's like, oh yeah, we can beat them. We can definitely beat them. Like, they're so stupid. They're not going to think that anybody's going to like spit in their food and serve them, spit in the very food that they're going to feed them, or serve them. And we talk a lot about deconstruction. That's what it is. Like, it's just deconstruction. Like, I'm not saying that the rebellion didn't fight back and didn't have
they had their victories where it counted and stuff like that, but
on a consistent basis, like,
they were not so effectively kicking the Empire in the teeth. That's for sure.
But like, it demanded fear first, respect. I think it was like, I would say fear first, respect second, or maybe respect's not the right word, but it was definitely fear.
Yeah,
I think through that fear, you were like, people were like, well, you can't beat them, so if you can't beat some, were definitely like, can't be them, join them, but it's like, we can't beat them, so like, we're just gonna have to live in this new utopia that she.
Some people were like, if I die, I'll fight them till the bitter end, right?
And then in 2013, whatever, you got Filoni, who's created these characters, Kanan, and all these people like, we're gonna show it to them, we're gonna destroy the Empire, and like, no, it's then you want to take the Marg Sable maneuver that was from Thrawn, but then Filoni in all of his gloriousness was like, no, Ahsoka came up with it. It was never Thrawn. It was Ahsoka. And on Friday and Saturdays, I'm Ahsoka. And I can tell you that Ahsoka came up with it. Like, it's just deconstruction. It's like,
right.
And if you don't see it, like, you're either you have blinders on, or you're too stupid to see it.
Or just some people just don't want to admit it. They just don't want to admit that it's gone down this path.
They have strategically deconstructed these characters, and now they're going. Now I feel like they're going after the big fish, right? Now they're going after the Empire, right? They've gone over. They deconstructed Boba Fett and created Fennec Shand. They deconstructed, Kyle Katarn, and has now been replaced with Andor. They've deconstructed Jan Ors, and now Jan Ors has. Jan has been replaced with Jan Ors has now been replaced with Jan Urso. So it's like they're strategically, they're starting with like tadpoles, and they're going to frogs, and then they're going to bullfrogs, and then they're going to go like, and eventually, like, it's the whole the whole like the whole universe is going to be, it's going to be deconstructed and constructed into something that they want, and it would become
which
a
has
vessel
been
to
the
push
plan
with it.
all. Yeah, that's been their plan.
How do you? It's like you can't implement changes all at one time. You have to start somewhere. It's like, yeah.
It's just it's draining,
like,
isn't it?
It's it's kind of like yeah. It is draining, but it's like you got to start somewhere. You got to start small. Like, how do you, if your whole goal is to get everybody vaccinated in the world because you think vaccines work, how do you start that? Well, you start small. You're like, vaccines help, vaccines save people. Oh, you don't want to get the vaccine? Well, sorry, you're not going to be able to work. You're going to lose your job.
That's
you don't have the vaccine. You're not going to be able
right?
to you're not going to be able to buy groceries. Oh, you're not going to be able to have health. Like you start small. It's like a little bit of,
you gradually work your way up. Yeah.
What's the old saying? It's like, I think Bane said it. It was like, a little bit of hope to poison the soul. Something like that. He said.
That's something like that.
But yeah, look at this. It's already 5 o'clock, and we've just been ranting and raving about this.
I know,
Mon
just
Mothma being Pelosi.
I know.
This is just so stupid, though. It's like, I didn't tend to go on this rant. I really didn't. But the minute you said that this actor took her inspiration from AOC and all these other people, the very people that some people oppose, and the very people that oppose their ideology and all this and that, are the ones who get.
Well, it's taking a very intentional, divisive stance, right? You aren't naming anyone else. You're just naming one side of the aisle to it. So
it's like Bail Organa's taking inspiration. The actor who portrayed Bail Organa took inspiration from freaking Trump and Ronald Reagan and John F. Kennedy and all the other.
Yeah.
Stupid. See, my neck's freaking throbbing.
Well, for some hilarity, I thought this was kind of funny. I found this thanks to the Yellow Flash when he did a video on it. So old the She-Hulk is managing to outperform Andor series premiere. And out of all the things that I am hearing about She-Hulk, it has been nothing good.
I heard one person actually say that they liked it.
Well, they're wrong. I'm just going to go off of they're wrong. Even though I haven't watched a freaking second of this show.
I won't.
I've just been hearing the reviews from people that, how do I not think like me, because even they don't always, yeah, I don't know. But at least I've been going to what I think are people that are like, for some older fans of the original comic series and stuff like that for She-Hulk. So I defer to people with that knowledge. And it's just been nothing but one train wreck after another. And like Dave said, it just sounds like the show is just written by a bunch of wine moms that have no real real world in any way. They seem like they need a lot of therapy.
Yeah, basically,
and they're using this show as their means of getting that therapy out. But the funny thing is with this is apparently with the Whip Media's Watch Report reveals that She-Hulk attorney at law outperformed the Star Wars streaming series Andor during the latter's debut week. That should not be an occurrence for Star Wars, and especially finally with something that's a new IP-ish, even though it's a prequel on a prequel. But it's still Star Wars, and it's always had a big presence. Even the sequel trilogies, with what problems they had, still made.
I would rather watch
made their money.
Jar Jar. I'd rather watch episode 1 10 times over and listen to Star Wars theory about how Jar Jar was a Sith Lord than watch Andor or watch Bad Batch or watch anything that they have produced post 2012. And that's saying a lot because there's a lot of stuff I don't agree with. With Star Wars theory on.
So for
but I would drop.
So for data analytics company Whip Media's Whip Watch report for the week of September 19th to September 25th ranks She-Hulk Attorney Law as the #1 streaming series in America, with Andor coming in second. She-Hulk didn't secure the top spot in the United Kingdom, Spain, France, Italy, Brazil, and Germany. However, it still outperformed Andor in these regions as well. Lucasfilm executives likely won't be too worried about Andor losing out to She-Hulk, though, as the former has released half as many episodes for viewers to binge as the latter.
I love are people actually binging this?
Andor? Possibly.
Or
they might be. Or yeah, I mean, I know like I said, there are people that have been reviewing it. I know that, and but otherwise, I don't know who else. I mean, I don't know who would be bitching. Probably somebody that we know.
Oh yeah.
But otherwise, I can't imagine just from the sounds of it, it's literally just been a show about nothing. That, with the idea of a show about nothing, that apparently Seinfeld did much better.
I mean,
but here's the main meat of it is that the showing, and this is the thing. Like this isn't the idea of kind of like the traditional Nielsen rating boxes and stuff like that, which was how original numbers were gathered. Streaming services. I'll share this with I share this opinion with other people that it's still, what is it that's being gauged for the views and stuff like that? Because we've heard of different platforms. Just scroll over, or different platforms count a view on different things. So like, I think I heard for Netflix, if you just watch it for like a minute, that counts as one full view of the show. That counts towards that.
Which is so shy rating, man. It's like you get on Disney Plus.
So
and
and this is the problem is that with these ratings, we have with these streaming services, you have no real way of gauging how many viewers, and then with the fact that this is they go up on a website that it's not live on TV or anything like that. They just toss it out, and it's watched at more of a leisure instead of like it is when it would be premiering at a certain time on a certain channel. Everybody would go to watch it at the same time, sort of thing. That's no longer the thing. It's all, watch at your leisure, basically. So it's not all a viewing ship at one time like it used to be.
Yeah.
I
just don't trust those numbers because there's no measure. Like, what is the measurability of it? Like, to your point, like if I go on Disney Plus and I scroll, if I'm looking like, oh, what do I want to watch tonight? And I just happen to click on Andor to see, what I was like, what's Andor? I don't know what that is. And you click on it and you read, the description, like, that's a count.
Yeah.
Like I didn't watch it.
You can be counting anything.
If you press play, it's like, that's a count. Like if they're gonna do that, then it needs to be like you need to watch from beginning to end. None of that's like, oh, you watch 15% of it, so therefore,
yeah. Well, and even this says the studio will no doubt take heart from Andor's strong reviews too. Critics praise the show's first 3 episodes for bringing a mature, grounded approach to Star Wars that's already existed in Star Wars franchise, and applauded Diego Luna's performance. He gives about as much emotion as a plank of wood. As protagonist Cassian Andor, slow burn storytelling and willingness to deviate from the saga's established formula were also listed among Andor's major selling points. One reviewer even went so far as to suggest Andor might be the best Star Wars streaming series to date. Like we were already talking about earlier, it has competency, but that's about it. It's still not Star Wars, and Star Wars can still be given that same presence, that same feel through other means of not just the story itself, but from a music perspective, bringing in the crowds of aliens instead of just a bunch of humans. Again, the ambiance, sound effects like TIE fighters flying overhead, and just the vehicles, the bots, you name it. They all just want to keep creating something new and different to try and make sure they have that ownership, but they don't want to make it Star Wars. But funny, because then Andor and She-Hulk apparently are gearing up for their second seasons, which we already knew with Andor. I'm surprised to hear this with She-Hulk. Andor still has 8 more episodes left to air in season 1. However, showrunner Tony Gilroy is already looking ahead to season 2. Gilroy recently revealed that Andor's second season is fully mapped out, even though it isn't likely to air for at least another year. Quote, I'm expecting that the last script from my brother, screenwriter and director Dan Gilroy, in a week on his block. He said, I owe my 3 scripts, but they're all sketched out. We know exactly what we're doing, but the moment to moment details of it will probably still be being hammered out through April 2023. Meanwhile, She-Hulk attorney law creator Jessica Cow, who apparently was reported saying that she didn't really like reading comic books because, quote, they were too serious. I'm paraphrasing some of this, that they were too serious and couldn't really follow all that was going on.
Well, so this
is the person that they put in charge of a comic book superhero franchise. Yeah, that's the kind of person you want. She's also made it clear she has ideas for a second season of the MCU series. Honestly, even when I pitched the show, I already had an idea where I would want it to go for another season and what the premise of that season would be. She said, from the beginning, I had ideas of where it would go, but coming from TV, you can't ever go into a first season show thinking you're going to get another season. You have to plan for the fact that this might be one and done. So you have to create a season that feels like it's telling a complete story, yet leaves the door open. And basically, from what I've understood about this season 2, is that they've been basically building up and baiting for Daredevil to make his appearance, and probably won't until the last
round. That's the only thing.
Yeah.
Well, I'm not gonna say
not
the only
only.
thing, that's
They,
what I
they first marketed it heavily with Mark Ruffalo being in it, which is only for, as I understand it, the first 2 episodes, maybe. And then he's been gone. He apparently bunked off into space. And now, and then they'd also teased then later on with some of the trailers of Daredevil making an appearance. And apparently they've been just making light hints, which they still haven't given yet. But I'm like, people are guessing it's going to be probably the last episode that he's going to pop in.
No, there's a scene where Daredevil comes back and he's in his what I would only assume, or what I think I've been told at least, is like the red and yellow, like the traditional suit.
The red and yellow suit. Yeah. Good God.
That would be the only. I'm not a Marvel guy, so I probably will never watch it. But if I ever decided to watch it, it would be solely based off that, because it's Matt Murdock and it's the original. But if they screw it up,
if you're gonna watch anything to do with Daredevil, watch the original series that was on Netflix and then leave it at that. Which even as I understand, I heard
the same actor. It's
the same actor, but like apparently even that show is now considered non-canon to the MCU, which is kind of a good thing on it to a degree, considering like I remember watching that first season, especially the first season was really good.
That would be like this.
The second season,
I just go back to the point you just made. So she's like, I don't really like comic books. That'd be like having the head of Marvel be a DC. I don't even know how to like it. Like it's just stupid. Like if you don't like comics, then why are you a main character in a comic in a show?
Why are
that's
you like the creator or figurehead for or showrunner for something about
like
a superhero? Yeah,
a superhero.
And what's funny is that even in this She-Hulk show, they took a stab at the origins of the character. Which when I heard about the one YouTuber It's a Gundam, he did the episode 1 review, and he laid it out on just exactly her origins and stuff like that, and it would have been a lot better than what they've been giving this show for sure. So, but they're this is the thing, they openly are antagonistic and just spitting on the fact of, oh well, it would have been stupid if it was like this, a mob hit gone wrong or whatever. And it's like, but from the sounds of it, that was the origins for She-Hulk was a lot more interesting than what you're giving these poor people that are that are consuming this.
It's
go to the source material, folks. Always go back to the source material.
It's almost like we're going to create this show, and we already know this show is going to be absolute donkey water. Right. However, we're going to inject one character. Like, so I heard, I don't know if this is legit a thing. It wasn't an article I read. It was something I think I heard in a video. Oh no, it was Robert Downey Jr. He was on Joe Rogan's podcast, and Joe Rogan was like trying to talk, ask him like, would you ever come back and all this and that, and he's like, no, like, you think if I put on the jersey, you think it would make a difference? And he's
yeah.
But then I did hear that they want Chris Evans to come back in the role of Captain America.
And
because the person that they have, like, it was always Bucky, I think, in the comics, but they have like whatever his Falcon or whatever is supposed to take the mantle, and I don't think they think it's going to do well. So they're like,
even in the in the comics at one point they had Bucky take up the mantle of Captain America.
That's
but then
the one
Steve Rogers came back. He took it back over basically, and then later down the line they did give it to Falcon, which I forget his name, but then now he's Captain America.
But to say like we're gonna bring this guy back, or we're having thoughts of bringing this guy back, is evidence that you like that should tell you that you have no faith in what you're producing. You have no faith in what you're coming up with. Like, and I don't know if She-Hulk, if they thought that, but I just like from the people I've talked to, they're like they want to watch it solely based because Matt Murdock's coming back. That's it.
Right. That was their hook.
That's in like think what you want to think. That's like they don't care that she's a female version of Hulk. She doesn't care. They don't care that she's a lawyer. Like the only thing that I've heard is like
apparently can't even write a lawyer show.
No, like bro, like yeah, we're the days of old NYPD Blue and SVU and all the the West Wing and some of the older shows. Like we're never going back to that, dude. But yeah, do you think that they were like they created the show like, oh man, it's gonna be bad, but we're gonna bank on the fact that like we're gonna put Matt Murdock, we're gonna bring.
Well, they banked on the grab of, oh hey, guess what? We've got we're gonna have interactions of Hulk and She-Hulk together. Right. And then it was kind of like, oh hey, look, we brought in the actor who played Abomination in the Edward Norton Hulk movie. We brought him back again.
Yeah. And
then it was then like one of the trailers was the reveal of
it's
Daredevil. Like, and it's like everything that's been going on within this is like she is in no way, a superhero at all or wanting to be and just shits on everything else about.
Well, it shows it's that passion thing that we talked about. Well, this is kind of like Book of Mando or Book of Boba, and they brought Mando in. Where it was a Rocky Balboa? What episode were we reviewing? Where I made the notes, it was like Rocky Balboa meat locker scene where he comes in and he cuts the guy in half. Wasn't that Book of Boba?
That was the first episode with Mando that they brought him in for Book of Boba Fett.
Yeah,
and he was going after some target, and they were in a meat locker.
What was it? Episode 5 of Book of Mando.
Oh God!
What it was
I
one of
think
the point. The point I was trying to make is like it's like did we like there's no way that they didn't think Book of Mando was gonna suck. There's no way that they thought it was actually gonna be good. So it's like we know that it sucks. We've heard all this backlash, so we're going to bring. I don't know. It's like we're gonna bring in Mando because Mando is the one.
So episode 5 was when they brought in Mando.
Yeah. Okay. Episode 5.
And then there was like 2 more episodes after that.
Because you can't argue that like Mando is not popular. The Mandalorian is popular. There are things that I hate about it. There are things that I'm okay with, like the slaughtering, the genocide of Jawas. I'm okay with. Don't care. Like, I'd be right there with them, right? So, but it's like I guess the point I'm trying to make is it's like it was bad. Book of Mando, very bad. Book of Boba, very, very
Book
bad.
of Boba Fett
So it's like
horrible.
we're gonna bring in Mando. We're gonna bring in our beloved character to try to either, if we can't save it, we're gonna at least bring him in to draw the attention off this dumpster fire show that we create.
Right.
So it's the same thing with She-Hulk. Like She-Hulk is just an atrocity, but the one saving grace of it is to bring Matt Murdock in because everybody loves Daredevil. Or is it so bad that it's like Daredevil's a distraction to the rest of the show? I've heard there's some people, 1 or 2 people that have said that they enjoy the show, and that's fine. But overall, I've heard more negative than I have positive, which leads me to believe that it's just a dumpster fire. And that's me. Like I guess I'm biased.
Going towards that would have been the word. More towards my biases than.
But here's the thing.
Other people.
If we're let's call a spade. Like there's stuff that DC is doing that's just terrible.
Atrocious.
Too. Like they have enough money this year to make to do one movie. That's how much money they have, and they've done stuff too. So I can see both sides of the fence here, right? But
they were trying to clean
there's nothing. But I will say She-Hulk, like find me something that DC has done that rivals how bad She-Hulk is, and then we'll sit down and talk. Like I'm not saying that like DC's 100% off the hook, but I don't know if there's anything I've watched DC wise
Birds of Prey.
As bad as She-Hulk.
I can't say I haven't watched either, but I've heard Birds of Prey was horrible.
It's not the greatest thing, not the most shiny, the most
as bad as She-Hulk. I mean, it could possibly be comparable.
There's always going to be that bias too, because but
I think at least Birds of Prey had like action and stuff like that going on. It had a little more going for it than She-Hulk has.
It's like she just, from what I've seen and from what I've heard, she literally is the same version of herself, just painted green. And when she turns into like,
basically,
like you have a green suit on.
That's what
there's a difference between Bruce Banner becomes Hulk when he turns into Hulk. Like obviously he has to get new clothing because his clothing is ripped to
and it always just magically fits her. She always seems to have a perfect suit
span
for the opportunity.
That spandex for you. But again, this is me not saying DC is off the chain, off the hook of making bad stuff.
I get you. I get you.
I won't watch the Hulk.
Neither will I.
I won't. If you tell me that we're going to do this, or
good Lord, no.
Mr. Insect creates a vote on Twitter to to see what we're reviewing next. Like I'm out. I'm on vacation until we're done. But
good Lord, no.
I wonder if that stuff goes through their head, or if they're. But to say that stuff would go through their head would imply that they actually have some level of intelligence, and I'm not going to do that. To say like we've created this show and it's doing really, really bad, so we need to figure out a way to counter
what's going on,
counteract the blood loss. We got to stint the bleeding, if you will. But again, I don't know if that's the case because I don't think that works because I think everything has been shot at that point in time. I don't know if or is it? Is that how it works? So like we're on season 4. I'm sorry, episode 4. Are they currently? Are they currently filming episode 5, or has
it's already been filmed? It's all filmed and stuff like that. So
this isn't like it'd be different. This
is a matter of releasing them, basically.
It'd be different if this was like old WWF, but weekly episodic. Like when you watch one on Tuesday, they're already getting ready to film,
Yeah.
you know, the next one. So I guess that doesn't work. Then they're just, yeah. Then my idea is shot to hell, because that would, my idea or what I'm saying would be solely dependent on the fact that like they were only producing singular episodes at one point in time. They haven't shot all 7 episodes, so that doesn't make sense.
No,
unless before they started filming that they knew that like, man, like this is dog water, but we don't have enough money, or we're not gonna pull the trigger on, or we're not gonna pull the plug on this, because if we pull the plug, then that shows everybody that we're infallible,
we're wrong, and
we're wrong, and we can't do this. So we're gonna go ahead and go along with this. However, we're going to inject these beloved characters at some point in time in the story to stint the blood loss. I could see that, because they're not gonna, like, to your point, like they will never admit that they're wrong. They will never do it. They will come up with every excuse under the sun, and they'll use every single door between worlds to rectify or justify their ridiculousness, but they'll never admit that they're wrong. So my original idea,
we'll just try and do it in a story way of going, no, don't worry, we're not.
Because
we're not.
With the whole Mandalorian thing, like Filoni himself, we hear this term. Well, I heard the term from him. I think he was doing a speech at Star Wars Celebration, but Mandoverse. Everything gets a verse.
Yeah,
Mandoverse. But it's like, why did Mando have to be interjected into Book of Boba? But it's like Mandoverse, which implies that you think Mando is going to be bigger than Boba. And I would have made the argument that like nothing, I don't think, could have been bigger than Boba. The path
you would have thought so at the time.
The path you took made Mando bigger than Boba, because you basically cut his nuts off and put them in your top drawer.
Yeah, exactly.
But fight me on it. Come up with some argument to the contrary. Like, this is Boba. This is the guy, like you said it yourself. This is the guy that had Vader shaking in his boots. Vader was not a guy like, you know what I mean? Like, briefly,
there was like a mutual respect between the two, and so it was.
But listen, this is not the same.
The Mando we got was certainly not that.
This isn't the same. The Vader that had the same, shaking in his boots isn't the same Vader that was cowering to the handmaiden. Oh, she knows my identity.
God.
You know what I mean? So it's like
that was terrible to see.
The path you took is what made Mando bigger than Boba. But if you had stayed true to the character, I would argue that there's no character that would be bigger than Boba. Canderous a close second, just because I love Canderous.
Right.
Am I wrong? Fight me on it. Come up with an argument to the contrary. See, this is so good. This is why I love this show, because we were supposed to talk about Andor. Now we're talking about all this other stuff that they. I think this is just different frustration. At this point. I think it's just built up frustration over the last. Maybe I never got everything I want to get out on Book of Mando, but it's also just the stupidity of it. It's really just stupid.
Oh, like, I agree.
I'll have my opinions. I get it, but oh god, it's so bad, so stupid. There will never be another Kyle Katarn, despite how bad you want Cassian, Clementine, Cassian Andor to be Kyle Katarn. There'll never be another Jan Ors.
No, thank God too. I just hope that kind of stays in the old Legends material. But sadly, I've got
it's interesting.
I got an old bad feeling about it that they might try and bring him up sometime.
I think, if you don't mind, I just want to spend like 2 minutes covering a theory that I had shows back many shows ago. When we talked about the reimagined covers, and I had said, what if? I think we may have agreed at the time, or maybe later, a couple of shows after that, we agreed. But like, this phasing in of the reimagined covers, and possibly altering the innards of the Legends books to push this agenda. But I went to the local bookstore, and the ratio of reimagined covers to the original covers. It's sad to see like these reimagined covers are flooding.
Oh
the
yeah,
book
they've been pushing them out like crazy.
Well, and I thought when you saw, I was like, oh no, man, there's no way. Like, yeah, they'll probably like push them out, but there's no way that they're gonna like full on do this. And I will respectfully eat crow because out of the 6 shelves of on this bookcase, the reimagined covers took up a good three of those, and then they had the audacity to put the original covers on the very bottom shelf, which I think is just absolutely disrespectful. If anything, those
they want the new covers to be more present.
It's classic marketing because in our line of business, people are lazy. People don't want to bend over. So what you do is you put the product that you don't think you're going to sell, that you need to get rid of, on the top shelf, and you put the stuff that you want to keep on the bottom, because people are lazy. That's an old grocery trick I learned many galaxies ago and moons away and whatnot. But it's sad to see because you pull up the Deceived. Deceived is one of probably my top 5 books. I'd say you take the original cover, and it's not a glamorous cover by any means. It's basically, I think, a picture from KOTOR, or I'm sorry, SOTOR, if I'm not mistaken, or with Malgus. It maybe not taken from the game, but there's nothing glamorous about the original cover, but it's a beautiful cover nonetheless. And then you look at the reimagined cover, and it looks like literally like my 2-year-old niece drew it with her crowns that she bought at the local craft store. That's what you're selling, though.
All because we looked at both of those, didn't we?
We did. Well, we did Revan. I know we did Revan, and
I think we did Malgus.
Literally, like I don't suffer from epilepsy, but I thought I was having a spell when I looked at that cover. Because it's just the blue lights and 2 people just. It's just
it was. Yeah. We did. Because I remember.
I think that it's worse. I think it's coming.
Well, yeah, we knew at least for book cover wise and stuff like that, they were going to be.
They're pushing
making their mark over what was originally established.
Disney has either got to be giving these bookstores a deal on these covers. I don't understand. And again, we have our biases. I just don't understand how you would buy these. Like they're so bad. I have not seen. Listen, I'm trying to make this statement as unbiased as I possibly can. I have not seen one reimagined cover that is actually good, or one reimagined cover that is actually better than the original. Haven't seen it. Find me one and I'll eat crow. I have not seen it.
Yeah, I can't say that I've seen. I can't say that I've seen any that have been really inspiring or like, ooh, okay, that's actually pretty cool.
The X-Wing books, I think by Stackpole, Michael Stackpole.
Oh God, those ones are so bad.
Like, you look at the original one, and it's like you're
in comparison to the new ones. Just like Jesus, the state of laziness is just basically like either a headshot of a pilot, the rebel symbol, or I think one was I want to say it was Isani Isard. That was the Imperial that they were fighting with. But it's just like a headshot and that's it, with a different color for each book of the tinted over it. It's like you're not giving me much to go on, for one. And then 2, when you look at the original book covers, the action and dynamics that is going on in those pictures for the covers, it's like, wow.
And then
that draws you in.
Even more interesting is when you go to these bookstores, it used to be back in the day when you went to your local bookstore, you could find books that were written by actual people that worked with Lucas and everything. And then you go into I went into the store and I found a Star Wars, it was like a graphic arts book about Star Wars that had like all the different explanation of like the ships and the planets and everything. Do you know who the foreword was written by?
Who?
Pascal, what's his name? Hidalgo, the Mandalorian guy.
Oh,
Pablo Hidalgo.
No, Pedro
Pablo.
Pascal.
Whatever his name is. Pasty guy. Pascal guy. Mando guy.
Pedro Pascal, yeah.
Yeah, the foreword was written by Pedro Pascal. Did I get his name right?
For which book?
It was a Star Wars book. It was basically an explanation of like ships and planets, and it was like a history of Star Wars.
And he had him?
And he wrote the foreword to it.
It wasn't Pablo Hidalgo?
No, it was the guy who played Mando. Whoever played Mando.
I'm gonna look it up. Fascinating.
I'm gonna find it. But yeah, I was like, this guy knows how much about Star Wars?
Pascal, I don't know. Probably not a lot.
Yeah, it's not Pablo Hidalgo. It's Pedro Pascal. Yeah. Oh, and then fun fact, there's a book, How to Be as like Vader raised, as like a father book, like a book for father, like new fathers, fathers that are, and that book was written by Pedro Pascal, because he's such a fatherly figure to Grogu.
Are you sure about this?
I will take a tonight. I will take a. I will go there and I'll take a picture and I will send it to you. I am not lying. I'm not pumped. I'm not trying to pull content on my rear to get viewers. Like, I'm telling you, like, I physically saw his name on these books.
I would like to see that. Yeah,
I will find, and then next year I'll post it. But like, it was like they had these fun little books for kids, like new, because I was going to buy my. Running joke was my brother was going to have he's going to have a son, and I was the only person in the family that said, no, you're having another girl. And then I found this book, I think his wife found this book that she thought I should buy him. So basically, is Vader becoming a new father to Luke. It's like a kid's book, and it was
I've seen that book around. Yeah.
I'm so pumped to go to that place tonight and find it for you and send it to you. Oh, and then the other thing I was going to tell you is they are pushing High Republic and this new Leia, the courtship of Leia, or the marriage of Leia and Han, whatever. There's a new book that's done by Karen Beavers. I think she's the same one who did the Skywalker family book. It's not the courtship of Leia, because that's Legends, but it's this new book about Leia marrying Han. I think we talked about last show.
Yeah. I know the one you're talking about.
Yeah, I'm just telling you, like, the top 4 shells, man, are High Republic, reimagined covers, and these new books, the Skywalker family, and then that Leia book. Oh, and then there's another book apparently about Obi-Wan and Anakin being brothers. So.
That's
no, you know what I'm thinking of about?
A different. I know of that book. It's like Brotherhood, something like that. I forget, but it's just more, just kind of in between. I think Clone Wars stuff.
Yeah,
that one. I don't know I don't know the exact contents of that one.
Yeah. So I think it's just interesting to see. But then you go to like these non-chained bookstores, like these bookstores that are just like, they're not a franchise.
The mom and pop stores.
Mom and pop. You won't find. I have not been to a mom and pop bookstore here that has a reimagined covers. And I think it's a beautiful thing. These bookstores, they just, they take books that nobody wants and they resell them. But I've not seen any reimagined covers at those mom and pop stores, which I think is just amazing to see. I tell the manager next time I go, is like, just burn them.
That doesn't surprise me that you tell them that.
I would.
Oh, I'm sure you would do.
Like, donate them to the fireplace and get a tax write-off.
Well, we've danced around. Should we get into Andor?
I thought if we just filibust until 6, we wouldn't have to go over freaking Andor, but yeah, I think it's
well, unless you want to save going over 2 episodes next week.
How dare you? No, I will blow my brains out on live TV with my potato gun. No, listen, I'm telling you, like at 4 minutes and 14 seconds, I was going to quit. I was going to text you like I'm not. I'm.
You're not going to watch.
I am unavailable Saturday to review Andor. Like so 4 minutes. Like listen,
I'm
4
listening.
minutes. So at 4 minutes, I think it was like 4 minutes and 32 seconds. I was like, I'm done. I can't do it. and it takes 4 minutes of that 4 minutes and 32 seconds was the Andor scene.
See, I think I just have a built-up tolerance for bad things. You don't so much.
I don't know.
But then you still watch and read DC Comics stuff, so
yeah, because I think you you meant to say Marvel. You silly.
No, I know I know exactly what I said.
No, you meant to say Marvel. It's fine. I forgive you.
Well, Marvel's horrible too. I'm not gonna. If Daviasso was here, I would say Marvel. Just to then lump you both in on this, but you
silly bastard. That's why. All right. Well, I do want to just preface this by saying I did take a lot of notes. I attacked this.
Yes,
being very.
I'm very interested to hear your.
Basically, you don't have to watch the episode. You could just listen to my notes, and it would be like watching the whole episode because there's a lot of stuff that So let's we'll get into it and let you go first. Customarily let you go first, but when I do mine, I might say a little bit more just because
that's great. I'm happy to hear. Because I just ran over really quick. I got basically 4 pages of notes. So like I said, about my usual of note taking. So yeah, let's kick this bitch off. This is where like I said about the title screen. We get it. It's the Andor show. Speed this up. And then it's picking up right after the last episode of Andor and Skarsgård getting the heck out of Dodge. And already Andor is quite impressed with the ship he's in as it hits to hyperspace quite quickly. I'll say that Navicom is something else. Just a bunch of back and forth between Andor and Skarsgård proving how much he actually knows as he pops Andor's balloon of a pretty little story he made up, only to be revealed as being a cook on the planet. He was on at the age of 16, but was right about the Empire apparently making the people on that planet fight one another. And out of this whole pointless exchange, we learned that there is a plan to steal the payroll of an entire Imperial sector. I don't exactly see that as something the Empire would give a shit about hiding, but okay.
Or even concern themselves with.
Yeah. I mean, if it's a payroll, it's
last time I checked,
Chief
had amassed a fortune through the Empire. The Empire was, there was basically no funds that they couldn't
cover.
But yes, brilliant. Let's
again, like I said, it just doesn't seem like it.
No, it's stupid. It makes no sense. Why
would the Empire that to them? Yeah, like the Empire who holds control over many sectors of the galaxy is apparently so corrupt that it's out in the open at this point anyways. So why would they give a shit about what their payroll is or isn't, or who's gonna care? I mean, this is really gonna, after everything that's apparently going on, this is now gonna be it. This is now the last straw. Come on, who would?
I mean, if these people, I'm not gonna say it.
What?
Well, I was gonna say, like, if it would no.
What?
I was gonna say that if the people that directed this are the same mindset of the actor that portrayed Mon Mothma and taking inspiration from AOC and everybody. These are the same people that try to. They have a meticulous mind for screwing Trump. So maybe in their new empire, they would they would have the HR Karen that would be very adamant.
So that's what who I called Imperial Ellen DeGeneres is supposed to be. She does have a Karen moment of wanting to see the manager.
Yeah.
But so continuing on, I've in all of that little exchange though, Andor's sister is not brought up once. Yeah, he cared so much
because she's in the show.
How? Who? Where? When?
You didn't get. Oh, okay.
What?
We'll get to that. His sister. You know, dude. His sister's the female Imperial officer.
Oh, we talked about that as a joke in the last episode.
I don't know who you're joking.
I want it to be true. Please, God, do it. It'd be hilarious just to see the minds melt.
They do have a resemblance.
I don't foresee it being the case. It would be funny though. Like I said, I hope it is, but I don't think it's gonna happen.
That's why she wasn't. It's brilliant, dude. That's why she wasn't mentioned, because she's actually in the episode.
Oh God. But it's just funny though, because like he makes this point in the first episode. He's trying to look for his sister, but even after that one scene, did the writers forget about it? What was because he never made.
Did Joby Harold write this one?
He was credited this Tony Gilroy and
no, Joe. I feel like Joby Harold was credited on this because this is something Joby Harold would do.
Who is Joby Harold again? Remind me.
He did. He wrote the episode where he said Obi-Wan didn't know Anakin was Vader.
Oh, that guy.
Yeah.
No. Unfortunately, we don't have him to point at. Again, the writers for this is just Tony Gilroy and Dan Gilroy. So it's just the two brothers that wrote this. But there were. I don't know if we said this in the last episode or not, but it is just quite the thing that he's not. He starts out supposedly looking for a sister, but he makes no concerned point of, oh hey, I think I'm close, or I'm in the area to where I'm gonna possibly find my sister. I need to at least stick around, and that's why he's sticking around in town and stuff like that. But it's just more of just him just trying to make contact with Skarsgård's character, and that's it. And there's no other ulterior motives that we are to gather from it. We don't get any other hints that that's what's the point of all of it. It's just and then supposedly again, like, Skarsgård knows him, but he doesn't know this little tidbit, does he? That Andor apparently has a sister.
Yeah, or he does.
And with as openly as he basically was looking for in the first episode, it would clearly have gotten out. And he would have that sort of intel. Anyway, all right. So now we're going to Coruscant, and then now we're getting to see Imperial Ellen DeGeneres. Okay, the Imperial Security Bureau. Yay! This won't be anywhere as interesting as the Imperial Agent in the Old Republic. And it's not. It's rather quite procedural. Them going over their own statuses. Imperial Ellen DeGeneres does give the statement of the ISB verbatim, it seems. Then the Imperial in charge just dresses it up with an analogy and calls the other one basically a failure in his duty, which by the sounds of it, he was getting a proper dress down. Imperial Blevin, I think I don't know if that's how the name is spoken, but gives the rundown on Ferrix, and it seems though Imp DeGeneres wants to interfere as she starts looking into it on her own console there as the report is given. Also, we get the name drop of Scarif from Rogue One. But wait, I heard there were no Easter eggs in this.
Psych.
Psych. Aldani is our next destination. Andor's giving himself a shave, it seems, while Skarsgård asks him for his new role play name. And this was here we go. And this where I did take down the note time of at 10 minutes 33 seconds. Skarsgård brings out what is, as he says, a kyber crystal, and it's wait, I'm sorry, to what? The Rakatan? Are you fucking shitting me? The Rakatan, who were barely known even during Darth Bane's era. He only found out what he had because he researched what materials were left about Darth Revan,
and he just happened to get shot down,
and even found Revan's holocron, but destroyed it. So that knowledge was the last of it. How would anyone still know about them in this era? The Rakatans were barely remembered even in Coder, which is what my brother helped remind me of. This is Trash Panda Filoni levels of attention seeking for a cheap pop. Fuck this. It was such a. This was one of those things of, like I said, a cheap pop, and this was basically like how Tony. I mean, I'm guessing this is Tony the two Gilroy brothers here flexing a little bit and going, see. We know some of the old Star Wars lore. Yeah, but we know what was up. This is kind of what I equate to part of my problems with the Godzilla King of the Monsters movie done by Legendary, and that where they
didn't like it.
I have problems with it. I like bits and pieces of it. My problem is in particular was that they unceremoniously bring in the weapon, the hydrogen destroyer or oxygen destroyer, whatever. Yeah. It's kind of the same thing. Hydrogen, oxygen. But no, they bring in that weapon that, to me, they brought in just for, like I say, a cheap pop to go see. I've watched the old Godzilla movies because that weapon was in the original Godzilla movie what killed Godzilla, and also in that moment, Dr. Serizawa sacrificed himself to pull it off to also ensure that either nobody could, because he'd already destroyed his notes on the weapon, and then therefore nobody could try and force him to recreate such a destructive weapon. That was the whole point of all that. And then it was later got brought in as a big story point for Godzilla versus the Destroyer, where this creature is basically born from the remnants of the oxygen destroyer, and it's kind of the final Godzilla fight. So they brought that weapon in Godzilla King of the Monsters to use it very pathetically, in my book, for, like I say, a cheap pop, just to go, hey, look, we have watched the Godzilla movies, and we're just gonna bring this. Should have, if they were gonna use that sort of thing, that should have been a build. They should have built up towards that whole using something as impactful or important as that weapon. And then they're just name dropping that ancient civilization of the Rakatans, who, yes, in Coder had a small part to play of getting to at least see them on the planet, but getting remnants of their tribes and stuff now, because they were now back to a tribal civilization. But even then, in further back for the EU, they did do some comics where it was the early days of the Rakatan Empire coming in and glassing Tatooine, kind of showing what happens when you embrace so far into the dark side of the Force, and how then the Jedi tweak their methods instead of kind of having definitely a more balanced perspective on the Force, went full light side instead of what they were traditionally doing. And also they were the ones that brought lightsaber, or at least a functioning style of lightsabers, to this known galaxy. So it's just, like I said, because of how at that even point with Revan, their civilization was all but forgotten about. They were just a bunch of tribals stuck on their planet, and the only thing that was left of them was the Starforge that Revan discovered thanks to oh god, what were they? The star maps.
Yeah.
But that was only due to that. That's how he discovered the Rakatans. And nobody else was really able to obtain that knowledge except for basically him and Malik when they were hunting these things out. It just comes off as so goddamn cheap. Because, like I say, it just... So are we gonna learn that the Rakatan existed at a later time, or closer time to this, or are they gonna be part of the stupid oh god, what is it called, the
War of Worlds, War Between
not World Between Worlds, oh god, their version of the Old Republic, High Republic.
Yeah.
Are they going to be a part of that or something?
I
mean,
they're actually going to be in the. There's a trailer for the next episode. They're in the.
Next shut episode.
Up! Rude.
No, but
I just.
I mean,
so here's the. How do you know about the? How do they know about the Rakatan?
Well, that's just it.
That would lead you to believe that they are that he's a trash panda. He's literally a trash panda.
Tony and Dan Gilroy are the new trash pandas. Besides Filoni, we now have a couple of new trash pandas that have gone digging into the EU, all to do a name drop for a part of their show.
I mean, if you knew anything about the Rakatan, then you know that nobody knew who they were. And again, like you lined out, like in the Bane book, he destroyed that holocron. So, it ends there.
In Star Wars and OG Star Wars is a Twitter community. Soul Assassin did drop a good little thread here about the Rakatan, which is why I had the saves, because I wanted to go over this for this very segment. And so yeah, the Rakata, an ancient humanoid species who were a cruel and savage species whose empire existed thousands of years before the formation of the Republic. So that'd be even before their own data records and stuff like that were being kept. Discovery by the Kwa through the use of their infinity gates, which that gets a little shifty there, doesn't it? They uplifted the primitive Rakata like the other species they encountered, teaching them about the Force and given advanced technology to help them grow. Over time, the Kwa saw that the Rakata were not a good species who focused on conquering and destruction. When the Rakata demanded knowledge of the Infinity Gates, the Kwa refused to share that knowledge and led the Kwa / the Rakata War. Yeah, they were kind of the beginnings of the dark side of the Force.
Yeah. Well, from a certain point of view.
Well, everything's from a certain point of view, right?
We don't think the dark side is actually the dark side. With the gates gone, the Rakata found other ways of traveling the galaxy. Using technology mixed with the dark side, they created the Force Drive, an ancient version of the hyperdrive that was powered by the Force, using slaves to power. Not space whales, no. So using the slaves to power their ships, the Rakata ventured into space. You've even got a couple of shots from those comics showing in one panel, child with the same tattoos as you,
this is basically for the character Yuzesh, who is basically what like their Darth Vader, basically, and one of the first with the lightsaber. And then also it's kind of showing the how the Rakatan tortured even their own as much as other species. And also, as I recall, they got cannibalistic too, which was also potentially what was driving them completely insane.
Again, from a certain point of view, I think.
For thousands of years, the Rakatan Infinite Empire used Force Hounds to locate worlds strong in the Force, for them to be conquered, enslaved, and stripped for resources that built their empire that numbered 500 Force-rich worlds throughout the galaxy. And this is the Xesh guy, which looks pretty. I dig the look for sure. I'm surprised they haven't put it in Sutor yet, or at least maybe they do kind of have a variation on it.
Yeah.
Many worlds, such as Kashyyyk, Tatooine, were affected by the Rakata. Eventually, the Rakata created the Star Forge, good old Revan's weapon that he discovered, which was powered by the dark side. And throughout the centuries, the Forge would further corrupt its creators with the dark side and lead to its decline. And then ancient Tatooine that has a picture of, which basically shows it like another kind of, I think probably kind of like another Earth stand-in sort of water planet with, not water planet, but planet with a mixture of water and water, land, and probably forests and stuff like that. But until the Rakatans got decided to glass it.
Right.
After many centuries of rule, the Rakatan Empire began to collapse due to slave revolts and civil wars until they were affected by an unknown plague that blinded them to the Force. Dwindling down in numbers, the Rakata retreated back to Lihan, where they remained in a primitive lifestyle and eventually became forgotten by the galaxy. That was exactly what happened to them until, like it was, Revan had discovered the Star Forge, went hunting for it, found that planet, took it over basically, and took over the Star Forge. That was, I don't know if it was orbiting it at the time, but yeah, I mean, then like after that whole instance, they faded from memory. I mean, Revan was the one that took top priority in that whole saga. So the Rakatans again weren't even really mentioned unless they had records from Darth Revan himself. Which good luck getting that out of the Jedi hands, and doubtful a non-Jedi person would have access to that sort of knowledge.
Right.
Like Skarsgård's character here. And even because what was it? Even in the Bane books, Lihan was uncharted. It wasn't charted in any of the Navicoms or anything like that. It was completely off the record, so there would be no risk of anybody revisiting that planet.
Kind of like Camino.
Is that what? Camino
wasn't Camino like not on the map?
Oh, right. Yeah, because
I mean that was
trying to locate it when But I mean, yeah, basically the same thing. Lihan was completely abandoned off the maps, so nobody would go there. It's kind of like what Luke tries doing with Korriban during his time. So there's no threat or risk of anybody, finding their way to these planets. So yeah. But hey, let's just name drop them and go at the nerd spurging. Oh my God, the Rakatan are now canon.
I just find it very interesting that why bring it up? Why even bring up
I said for the cheap pop?
But it's stupid though, because you bring it up and you bypass. It's like bringing up you bring up something that nobody should know about.
Yeah,
because contingencies were placed and so like nobody would know. Like it's just so stupid.
I mean, if they're gonna want to see, this is like what we've talked about. They like cherry picking the sort of information they want to take out, and that's why we say, they go digging through the trash, and they don't get the whole picture, but they just take out the bits they want to use. And that's exactly what this is for.
It's like some people like, oh, cool, it's the recording, yes. And then it's like us, it's like that doesn't make any sense. Like nobody should know about the recording because things were put into place to prevent anybody from knowing about said recording.
Exactly.
Like, so it's like, oh yeah, it's cool. Like KOTOR, sweet, yeah, awesome. And it's like, no, like that doesn't make any sense, guy. Makes no like you shouldn't be bringing this up because. Like to your point, like Revan made it very clear that nobody, well, not Revan, but Bane made it very. I mean, he destroyed the very holocron that he got, from Revan. So you destroyed every. I mean, it's like destroying evidence of
evidence of their existence was gone, and should have stayed gone.
God, so bad.
It's just frustrating too, because it's like you could have kept all of this.
We're only like 5 minutes. We're only like 10 minutes in.
Yeah,
10 minutes in. Like
it's gonna be a bumpy ride. Okay, yeah. So where was I? Okay, so yeah, they name drop. Skarsgård though makes it clear to not take less than 50,000, but does want it back after all this. Even after Andor says if he survives, Skarsgård right ahead in the script. He knows. That aside, Skarsgård is meeting his contact for this mission, Val, but I guess it's Vel. I thought it was Val. And he's selling Andor to her on his abilities and so forth. But Vel seems to be having none of it and not liking it, as Skarsgård is trying to bring a foreign element to an already established team, it seems, to help. Not always the best idea, boyo, which is true. They don't just suddenly introducing a foreign element. Not the best idea for your team that is potentially very cohesive already. And then Skarsgård is really going for it in his part, at least. He makes it clear to Vel that Andor Clem that was the name that he picked for himself as Clem, is the key to the mission actually being pulled off, as he was going to pull the plug on it till he got Andor. Also, he makes a point that the advantage to having a hired gun, said hired gone, is he's disposable if he becomes a problem. So Vel can do what is necessary, which we know Andor makes it out of this with his head intact. That's another part of like a prequel to a prequel. So at least the original Rogue One, there were stakes in that you didn't know whether or not these two characters, Andor and Urso, were gonna make it out alive. In this instance, yeah, we already know Andor is basically bulletproof. Plot armor. Yeah, he's got the full plot armor, full body plot armor. He's protected one way or another. So there's nothing really that they can do to. Okay, so Imp Levin is giving the third degree of sorts to the security boys on Morlana 1, pointing out the pages worth of ineptitudes and failures of this outpost, it seems. He ain't happy. Seems the old dog security chief was right about trying to keep the incident quiet, but Karn, I don't even think they mentioned his name in the first 3 episodes. So I felt like finally, his name is Karn. Okay.
Yeah.
But Karn, our good boy deputy, is in hot water as he was just trying to bring in a murderer, for God's sakes.
No, he was too overzealous. He should have listened to the fat guy.
He should have, yes. We're in agreement there. Karn brought about the hammer of the Imperials onto the corporate sector now, and there won't be their free run anymore. Ouch. Andor is getting bits and pieces of this plan from Vel, also how they aren't to mention Skarsgård at all, and she tells him they are even going to be sneaking into a garrison base, which wouldn't surprise Andor. I mean, come on, man. You just walk in like you own the place and fool Imperials, right? What's the big deal? You're so good at this, right? Come on, bro.
They're so stupid they won't know.
Yeah. They're so fat, lazy, and stupid. They're not paying attention to you, what you're doing.
Andor must have watched Kenobi.
Must have. And then this is where I mentioned nothing beats the sound of TIE fighters flying through the air. So much for the route being the safe route. Imperial Ellen DeGeneres and gaunt-faced Jake Gyllenhaal are going over the Ferrex reports, and DeGeneres is looking for the Star Path unit that was stolen, so it wasn't such a secret, eh? He didn't just walk in there, huh? They knew, apparently. But Imp DeGeneres is looking to get her in to start snooping around for the item to interfere with Blevin. Skarsgård heading back to Coruscant, it seems, and his getting dressed up. Disguise. Gotcha. Quite the wig, too. Good on you. Full performance. And then another little scene with Andor and Vel. She tells him what was part of his planet, or part of this planet, and his people as they got pushed to the Southlands. I think that's what she said. With the Empire moving in because it's a nice enough in-between planet for hub and trade, or for a hub to trade, etc. So apparently Imperial Blevin is instant transmissioning between Ferrex and Coruscant now, because man, he's just in one planet and then another planet. I'm like, dang, that guy gets around quick. I didn't know the Star Destroyers were that fast. I mean, I knew they were great and everything.
It's the world between worlds.
Oh, God damn it. You want to fire off some of your...
Oh, yeah. All right, so I have a recap scene. Space, the final Andor, longest entrance ever. Back in space, Andor looking for a med pack. Luthen setting course for Aldhani. Making sure no one's coming. Andor making sure, or asking what is powering the ship. I was like, that's stupid. Okay, fine.
Farts is what's powering the ship.
Yeah, literally. That's all the Krillian Ellen.
All the self-huffing in the
Bantha fodder is what's powering it. Luthen instructs Andor to attend to his arm because he's bleeding on his floor. Andor inquires what Aldhani is. Luthen says it depends. Andor reminds us he hasn't agreed to anything other than to save his own skin. How admirable.
Well, you know what's funny too is like I didn't even hear them mention the name of the planet.
I didn't either.
Until like I think I looked at the name of the episode.
Yeah.
Oh no. Until I saw the name when they were going onto the planet.
Yeah. I said Luthen offers med nog to Andor. What is it, like eggnog? Like this is just stupid. Like med nog.
I was trying to figure. I was like, what did he say? What was that called?
Eggnog.
I didn't turn on the subtitles until where cotton got mentioned, and I'm like, wait a minute, did I really? And I turned those on, and I was like, oh fuck.
I like how he says just a sip though, because most eggnog spiked with something. So good on you, Disney, for. Bastards. Luthen informs Andor of his options. Seems to be two. He drops him and starts running, or he comes and helps him with something important, or he can kill Luthen and take the ship. That's 3 options, guy, not 2, but who's counting?
Well, he
Andor,
says 2, but he doesn't think he'll take the 3rd option. So it's not
yeah, well,
really-
yeah. Andor counters back with Luthen. Luthen's definition of importance, Luthen's response, taking something of real value from the Empire. What could that be? Surely not an NS9 Star Path unit.
Good on you for having the full name again. I didn't.
Yeah. Andor opts for the drop off. Luthen asks, and do what? Continue as you are. Luthen says they'll use the same rope to hang him wherever, or whether it's for a plasma coil or 20 million credits. So he's literally right here. Like, he's proven his point that he's effed either way. So like you can, and
yeah, he's up the creek
really,
without a paddle, basically.
You're not the most inept. Well, not inept. You're not the most. He's not the greatest mercenary, right? Because like there's things that he's done that like, so like I go back to like, was it episode 1 where it's like he decides to kill. He kills one guy unintentionally with the headbutt whiplash sneeze combo maneuver. And then he kills the other guy, but he just kills those 2 out there, but doesn't kill the same people that saw him. So it's like, it just like he's not like he's just effed either way. He can go with Luthen and be after he can do what he does on his own and still be effed because he's not clearly the most intelligible mercenary, whatever you call him, spy mercenary.
He's a plank of wood.
Yeah. Luthen is offering him everything he wants at one time. Andor asks what is everything he wants,
but he doesn't ask for information on his sister. Like he's offering him all of this stuff, and he doesn't go, "I'm looking for nothing."
Right.
Nada.
Literally, like he's looking for, which I just question. Like, was him looking for his sister just a ruse?
See, that's what, like I said. I that was my original thoughts when I was taking the notes. Was like, oh, is this like some sort of like code thing for him being in the rebellion or something, or trying to get into the rebellion or something? Like he has to provide this code phrase, I'm looking for such and such sort of thing. And then, then he gets like led to the back room where, then he gets let it. I didn't know. I was just taking some guesses when I was watching it. I know I didn't mention it, but that was what I was initially thinking when that was brought up, but it wasn't followed up with anything.
It's just, I don't, it doesn't make any sense. Like why the whole show, like the beginning of the show is based off the fact that you're looking for your sister, and now like you don't mention your sister, so it just it doesn't make a lot of sense. But
I'm gonna I'll until she gets mentioned, I am not stopping with this. Which I don't think they will.
No, they won't. Luthen just basically is saying stick to the Empire and get paid for it. And then Luthen asks who Andor thinks he is. He mentions Alliance, Separatist, Guerrilla, Partisan Front.
Yeah. I thought I wrote that down. Yeah, they name off a bunch of goofy sounding like factions of the rebellion, but I'm like, when was this ever a thing? I don't ever recall there being other
Guerrilla and Partisan Front. That was interesting, but then Alliance and Separatists. Like I thought, like the Separatists were. I could have sworn that they were.
That was during the Clone War era.
Yeah, they were.
Separatists. Unless there's new, I mean, I guess there would be, considering they want to be disassociated with the Empire, right?
The Separatists, but that's the thing though. When I heard that, I was like, are we talking about the same Separatists of like the pre-Geonosis or post-Geonosis?
Right.
Or, Anakin went
killed all their leadership. Yeah.
And then Luthen says something. He responds with "Isn't it all the same?" Question mark, or isn't it all the same? And then Andor says it is to him. So and then Andor thinks it's all which is interesting.
And that's basically it, right? They are just the rebellion.
Yeah, doesn't matter who. Yeah, multiple different names. It's like it's the umbrella, right? But he thinks it's all useless and. So this is what's interesting. So Andor states he fought in Minbin when he was 16 for 2 years, straight out of prison, into the mud. 1 out of 50 survivors asks whom they were really fighting. And then Luthen calls him out. Luthen calls out Andor, states that he was on the ground for 6 months and came in as a cook and that he survived because he ran tail. Like he took it, put his tail between his legs and ran. And then states that he was right about one thing: the Empire had them fighting each other, which should piss him off all the more. So it's like I find it interesting that's like Andor gives one side of the story that's not entirely true, but then Luthen comes behind him and gives the accurate facts of what happened, or what you could assume what really happened.
Right.
It's just this whole
conversation. You were brought in as a cook, kid.
Yeah, literally. And the only reason why you survived, you're literally you changed the commander's jock strap, and the only reason why you survived is because you ran. Well have. you powdered his ball sack, and the only reason why you survived is because you ran. You tucked tail and ran. I put Luthen. So I guess I could skip some of this because basically I'm just breaking down this conversation. It's like Luthen states that he.
This is kind of because I probably should have rewatched it again just to have a fresh in my mind. But having these extra tidbits is good. Yeah. It's giving me remembrance of.
Luthen states that he does know Andor and that he imagines, and then he just imagines the rest, which is very interesting. He imagines his hate, no matter what.
Yeah. So this was again the weird confusion of it. Okay, so he was kidnapped by Harry Potter's aunt Marva.
Marva.
So he got away from her at some point, I take it. But the thing was that they were looting from a Republic ship, not an Imperial ship, but a Republic one. They kept saying Republic ships are approaching. Republic ships are approaching. So how does he hate the Empire, but not did he also hate the Republic? I want some clarity here. Come on.
He's Kyle Katarn. He hates both sides.
I guess so. And how did he get away from Marva to be a cook on some planet after being in prison apparently at 16?
Why was he in prison for? So
and what was he in prison for? And what because what age could he have been when he was on that planet before he was kidnapped by Marva?
Yeah. So and then Luthen states he didn't rush himself, or he didn't risk himself for the Starpath unit. He came for Andor. Touching conversation. Andor asks what the offer is. He says 5 days, big danger. Andor survives and delivers. Luthen will give him 200,000 credits. How is the Alliance affording this? 200,000. That's quite the
200. Well, I think he's the one fronting that. I think he's the one that's personally paying for this.
Right. This is what 14. This is 5 years before New Hope, or before Rogue One. No, I'm sorry. Is it
5 years before Battle of Yavin?
Yes, and then 14 years after Order 66. Something like that. Is that timing right?
Something
along those lines. So it's like that's a lot of credits, man.
He's got a personal museum that a bunch of dumb rich people only had.
Well, Qui-Gon only offered freaking Watto, 20,000 dactaries. So this is quite.
Well, he was a Jedi, so Jedi only were unlimited funding, probably as it was.
Well, that's true.
They were like a non-profit organization, right?
Right. So it's like Andor contemplating the offer. Andor contemplating the offer ? Asks what they would be stealing. Luthen states the quarterly payroll of an entire sector, and then I just put why. So this is I don't understand why it makes no sense. Out of everything and anything that you could do to the Empire, why the hell are you so hell bent on stealing? Why payroll? What is stealing payroll going to do?
That's the.
Are you gonna steal the payroll?
How is this gonna reveal to everybody that the Empire is so crooked?
So it'd be like I stole payroll from work and then I wrote a schedule based off whatever. It's like I stole the payroll from it, and then I got to write a schedule, and then just schedule who I wanted to say. Why? It makes no sense. If you do they think that we're gonna steal the payroll? And therefore, we can maybe hack into the system, and then do these? That would be assuming that these imps have an actual schedule. It's not like an 8 to 5 job.
What is it? What is it supposed to bring them?
It doesn't make any sense. is it going
Unless this is
to
gonna be like
allow you
leading
to,
up to them trying to go for a bigger payoff? Like this will lead them to a money
This is how
bank or something to rip off.
this is how they were able to get the plans on Scarif, because everybody that worked that day on Scarif had to do with this payroll. Probably this sector is probably the sector in Scarif.
Ah, there we go.
I don't know, man. Is that like, it sounds absolutely stupid, but like it's stupid. I mean, this is stupid. Like,
Makes about as much sense as the rest of this crap.
It's like you're able to steal the plans on Scarif because the day that you stole those plans on Scarif, we knew what payroll was being allocated that day and that week, and everybody that was scheduled. It's just so stupid. It makes
They're
no
all
sense.
scheduled going to the bank.
It's so stupid. But fast forward to lovely Coruscant. 'Twas the heart of the Republic. Then Sheev turned into something special. And then I put like, is this Coruscant or Midtown New York? Like, flying over the city, it's all these skyscrapers. Like, get Coruscant. Like, it's just cheesy. It just didn't give me the
didn't give the impression
feel.
that it was Coruscant. Yeah.
No. And then I was like, since when did Imperials use briefcases? Like, are those like the nuclear? That's the nuclear codes to the
right.
nukes.
That really didn't stand out to me that much for some reason. I don't know why.
It did to me because it's stupid. It's like it's literally a briefcase. Like, when in the history of Not Never Done did you ever see an Imperial carry a briefcase? A New Hope, Empire Strikes Back. A New Hope would have been perfect because they were on the Death Star, and the Death Star was pretty much like
I think at best they walked around with the data pads.
Yeah, like there was no briefcase. Like, again, this is nitpicky stuff, but like it doesn't feel Star Wars-y. Like, you literally, like, I was half expected to find handcuffs on that briefcase attached to her. Like, that's the payroll. That's the payroll.
Right, that's the payroll right there.
They're treating payrolls. It's like the codes of the nukes or something. I was like, yes, the ISB. Did she mention Ryloth? It wouldn't be a Disney Star Wars. It wouldn't be Disney.
Yeah, they did bring up something about Ryloth. I forgot.
Interjected in the show. I said head of ISB Atkins himself to healthcare providers, treat sickness, identify symptoms, locate germs, blah blah blah.
Yeah, that was basically them talking about taking out any dissidents and stuff like that.
Finally addressed the Morlana sector incident on Ferrix, debriefing of Ferrix. Oh joy, they mentioned Scarif. You have to throw that bone out there because that's where they steal the plans from.
Well, that's where Andor's journey is leading to, right?
Scarif. We find ourselves on Aldani. Shading with a pocket knife is not easy. I dub the Clem, as in Clementine. We have... I'm going to get slack for this. I said we have Gandalf in the background hiking to inform Frodo that the Empire is coming. Andor asking who Gandalf is. Luthen informs Andor he'll be working for her. He thought he was in charge. Theatrics and deception, powerful agents to the uninitiated. Let's see. Hates your idea and argues. I said hate your idea and argues. Isn't that what women do? Luthen instructs Clementine to stay on board. Luthen, fumbling with a crystal, gives it to Andor as a down payment. It's a Kuti. I always pronounce it wrong. Quadi. Quadi. The Quadi signet or Kyber crystal.
It was a Kyber crystal.
He says Quadi, which reminded me of the guy in, is it Heir to the Empire? No, not Heir to the Empire. Shadows of the Empire.
Oh, Kuat Drive Yard.
Yeah,
that was in the. That was also mentioned in the Bounty Hunter Wars.
Yeah, maybe that's one. Yeah, both. I just thought of that. Kyber crystal, Kyber. So this is so stupid. A Quadi signet or a Kyber crystal, Sky Stone, Ancient World, celebrating uprising against
the Rakatan
invaders. Like, I'm like, what is? First of all, like, what is it? You've given it like the Quadi signet. Then you say a Kyber crystal. Well, I say Kyber crystal. They say Kyber stone.
There's a word salad of references.
It looks like a Kyber crystal, guy. That's what it looks like. And why you have a Kyber crystal, I don't know. It's probably Anakin's. I got Anakin's kyber crystal or Ahsoka. Well, so I don't know, but
who knows?
Worth, and then he's like worth 50,000 or worth.
He said
50,000.
no less. He said no less than 50,000.
No less than 50,000. But it's worth more to him, so he wants it back. But it was a down payment, Indian giver. And then he's like, he wants it back times 2. Andor only worried about getting payday. Not so much like Kyle. I said not so much like Kyle as Han, I think.
Yeah.
So like
Kyle, that's what some
I
people have attributed him to as being like another Han Solo type.
Not Kyle, but it's supposed to be Kyle, right? It's supposed to be Kyle Katarn, but I don't remember Kyle ever being like Han in the sense of like, I'm only in it for the money. Don't get it twisted, princess. I'm in it for the money.
Right. No, he was his own character for sure. If there was a character that was kind of like another Han Solo type, that was Dash Rendar. He was basically another Han Solo type.
Gandalf Fett looks more like an upset elf maiden of the woodland realm. Can't wait to find out more about her character. The long-awaited meeting between Luthen and Gandalf Fett, Andor having thoughts of taking off, ? Gets caught by a droid or whatever this thing is.
The ship's AI or whatever.
Yeah. The argument starts. I said, here we go. She's mad because they're eating roots and sleeping on rocks. And he's paying him 200,000 credits. And there's the mention of the rebellion.
No, it's like it's there, but it's not.
Yeah. Very subtle. I was like, is he a mercenary ? Luthen sends I skipped. I don't know what I wrote there. He said, "There's a line. Well, that's the advantage. That's the advantage of renting him. He's disposable. For someone who's disposable, he sure is costly." So this is what I had an issue with. So he's basically saying that that's the advantage of renting him, that he's disposable, but you're offering this guy 200,000.
Well, it's the advantage of a mercenary, basically, right? Is that he's not as connected to the whole plan as
even if you're
the people she has with him.
Yeah, but just the simple fact that you say he's disposable, but yet you're willing to throw 200,000 credits.
Well, did he tell her that though? That he was paying 200,000? Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I think that's supposed to reaffirm that that Andor will be working for them and not cause problems. But he's saying just in case he is a problem, you have full leeway to bump him off because he hasn't been technically fully paid, and he doesn't mention the kyber crystal at all. He doesn't want it mentioned, so it's just called, no harm, no foul if you decide he has to go.
Right. It said Gandalf Fett clearly not having it, but is forced to agree nonetheless. ISB has arrived on Morlana 1. If only Greenhorn had listened to the brass, they could have avoided this imperial entanglement. This guy, I was like, this guy really is raising his hand like he's in grade school. Like, gotta have the Marvel humor. Like, it's just like, whatever. This imp is ripping into these guys. The one thing the brass wanted to prevent is the one thing he got: permanent imperial control. Good. Some order needs to be brought to this sector. This guy is so far up their ears. If he sneezes, it's coming out of their mouth. Gandalf asking Clementine, or if Clementine's arm is going to be something that she needs to worry about, giving him every excuse to just quit, walk away.
Just walk away.
Clem asking who. Whatever. I said Clem asking who he is. Gandalf tells him. Oh, so Clementine is asking who he is. Gandalf is telling him he will not be discussed. That this was part of her plan, and nothing less will be accepted. So basically, who freaking Luthen is, apparently, I'm asking, is who they're talking about. Gandalf says they're robbing the armory at the Aldhani garrison, about to be a kerfuffle because he was told by him they were robbing payroll, not armory. So again, I think it would probably make more sense to arm or to rob like an armory for, I don't know, maybe weapons or something of more value than freaking payroll, but they're going for payroll instead of, it's just so stupid. Whatever. She says she doesn't know what he's talking about. Cassie and Clementine Andor asking how many of them there is. Gandalf says now there's 7. A couple more. Anders in shock.
More people to help complicate the plan.
Yeah. He's like, Anders in shock. 7 against the garrison. She basically calls him a windbag and to save his wind because it's a long walk.
Yeah.
Wait a tick. Do you hear it? Enter the TIE fighters. Meanwhile, back at the ISB, we have some debrief, and the female imp is concerned about the Starpath unit. So having a debrief, and all she's concerned about is the Starpath unit. She comes across Varnisi, unauthorized Imperial equipment. Ferris
she was looking for her in so she could.
Ensign retrieved a sealed Imperial NS9 Starpath unit. So that gives them jurisdiction, but didn't they already have jurisdiction? Question mark. I mean, they're the Empire, correct, or a shell of it. So this doesn't make any like I don't understand.
Well, this gets mentioned a little bit later. Is that each of these Imperials are in control of a certain amount of sectors. She doesn't have any foresight she has no authorization or insight into these particular.
It was fleshed out later, but I still think that's still stupid though, because like
because it's meant to give that the specific Imperials the only ones that are supposed to know what's the goings-ons and happenings in those particular areas, and then therefore they take that and report it in. So I kind of get it. It does seem a little goofy, but I do kind of get it, especially as they elaborate further on her status.
I said female imp gives orders for the officer to go to Blevin, acquire everything they have on Ferrix. Officer states it would be better if she went. She doesn't want to spark his interest. And I'm like, what interest? There's nothing to spark. Like, you're not the most attractive Imperial officer. Bug eyes is what I think I should have called her.
She seems to be in a perpetual state of shock.
Appears Luthen is off to meet someone, perhaps, breaks out the wig that doesn't look like a wig. Meanwhile, back on Aldhani, Clem asking Gandalf what this place is, or what this place is. Nothing special, just a couple hundred settlements, 40,000 Aldhanis across the Highlands. There for centuries. Only took the Empire 10 years to wipe them out. 10 years? Are you serious?
Was it wiped out? I thought it was they were being basically forcibly evicted from the area.
So she says wiped out, and then later I think she comes back and says that they were
pushed out to the south. Like I said, but it was pushed out to the Southland.
So when I originally heard this, I'm like, it took them like 40,000 people, settlement of 40,000 Aldhanis. And it took the Empire 10 years to wipe them out.
Yeah, basically.
I would have. I mean, but again, this is the same Empire that blew up Alderaan.
Yeah, I mean, for a fact that it was apparently I don't want to say. I mean, it seemed like I don't know if I want to say they were hunter gatherers necessarily, but they don't seem exactly teched out. So
no, they're freaking. This is like the Scottish Highlands, man. Like they've got freaking like.
So it's just funny that it apparently took the Imperials 10 years to push these people out.
That's my point.
Should have taken them less time.
They have this whole episode, this whole show. They have portrayed the Empire is again like it's reminiscent of a bygone era. It's a shell of their former self. It's not even a shell of their former self. It's not even the Empire that we know. Like, this is a laughable.
It's far from.
This is not. I mean, this makes sense. Like, so if all you knew was this Empire that they're portraying, right? And then they were to say that it took them 10 years. Like, that would make sense because these are the most unorganized, just laughable. It's just a joke. That's what just irritates me so much about it. But it's all her up here. So I said meeting between two. No, I said Gandalf saying that Aldhani is a perfect hub for distribution. If anyone was trying to take over the galaxy.
Right.
Well,
they emphasize that even though basically the Empire already took over the galaxy.
Right. Yeah. So it's like, what timeline are we? Oh, so stupid. Meeting between two imps. She's upset homeboy refused to turn over the dossiers on Ferrix. He claims it's his sector. She states that because the NS9 Starpath unit was stolen from the Steer Guard Naval Yard, it gets her jurisdictional access. Male officer pulls the seniority question, advises her to follow proper procedure. Female imp asks if male officer is denying her request. He states for the second time today, she goes and cries to dad. Back to the Highland laddie. A sentry guard asleep? ? Oh joy, yes. More Saw Gerrera. Young lad
they made a point to mention Saw Gerrera, and I
was like, oh joy. Young lad asks homeboy not to tell Gandalf it. He says he won't, but he will. Step lively, and advises him to step lively. The moment we've all been waiting for, the most spectacular weapon in all of Star Wars.
They
Trandoshians and Biths, my fellow Dathomirians, I present to you AK-47U, showcased by Idris. This I'm gonna get in trouble. I said showcased by Idris Elba's third cousin, twice removed. They've arrived at some camp in what I can only assume to be in the Highlands. I'm really proud of myself. Like I laughed as I typed that out. I was like, this is good. This is good. This whole AK-47 nonsense. They're all very sus of Clem. Gandalf that introduces Clem. All off the cuff. At least one is happy Clem's here. The guy, I don't know what his name was. I don't care. Everyone wants a word with Gandalf. Everyone wants a word with Gandalf. Oh my god, I'm having a stroke. Everyone wants words. Gandalf is like 1, 2, 3 break. She doesn't want anything to do with it. She just wants to be done with it.
Yeah, she was very insistent on just moving things forward and not answering anyone directly at that time, at least.
I'll say one more because I think I'm finally, maybe I'll be somewhat caught up. I said we see Greenhorn at a spaceport with his belongings in some elevator. Wherever could he be going? A slap and a hug from Mama. Come in, baby boy.
So kind of going back, it was Imp DeGeneres is pulling jurisdictional grievances over the Starpath unit. Turns out it turns into a minor pissing match, as I put it. Between the two, as he pulls the "you've only been here X amount of time," and then she Karens out and wants to go to the manager. Both are salty bitches, basically. I was like, Vel? I thought it was Val. Okay, whatever. Sleeping guard though in trouble. Seriously, dude, get your shit together. And I just laughed. I was like, ha 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 ha. Trailer shot people in the woods with poorly disguised AKs. Pretty hilarious. Hilariously sad, that is. And I laughed again. I was like, they added a bunch of horns to sheep. Is this Fallout or Star Wars?
Oh, yes.
The team is none too pleased with the stranger that Vel has brought to the party. Vel doing her best to quell the troops as she introduces Andor/Clem to the group and avoids at all costs answering to them about their new arrival and tries to push for Andor getting settled in. Karn walking around. Where is he? Where are he going? Back home to Mummy. And slapped for it, but hugged. Mixed messages here, Ma. Skeen and Tamarin, which were the two guys that were having the most disagreement about this, are having none of this this late edition stuff and trying to get to the bottom of Andor. His qualifications and so on, and Vel is trying to go with the story she was essentially told to go with by Skarsgård. Babyface Nemec, which is the guy that I believe was fallen asleep, at his post. Seems to be A-okay with Andor. He got a good feeling. Oh boy, you gonna die, ain't ya? Now we get Mon Mothma into the picture. Skarsgård is a collector of sorts, but sells the items of this quote-unquote museum. And oh, look in the background. I said, oh, look in the back. Got the Star Killer armor from Force Unleashed. Cheap pop number 2. That is also very unlikely, seeing as that was kind of like ancient style Sith armor. And like my brother pointed out, would not just be in a civilian collector's hands. This would be like a military, under military control, under, military lock and key. This would not just be out willy-nilly. You can't tell me he got this through without it being noticed, detected, whatever, because since it was supposed to be basically Sith armor, the dark side would be detected on it. Yeah. I would imagine. And I would think old Sheev would get a little interested. Would certainly get his attention, get his ire, or even if then Vader would be sent in to collect.
Yeah.
So, sorry, your stupid cheap pop. Seems Skarsgård's assistant is trying to figure out Mon Mothma's new driver. I guess since she's the Nancy Pelosi, I did make a note of this. I guess since she's the Nancy Pelosi stand-in, she can't drive herself anywhere, can she? As my brother pointed out to me, Ermagerd is just like Galaxies of the Galaxy scene with the Guardians of the Galaxy. Sorry, why did I have Galaxies of the Galaxies? I don't know how that got written out, how that got typed out like that. But Guardians of the Galaxy scene with the collector and all the nerd shit. Ermagerd, Easter eggs abound. I'm sure a YouTuber can make multiple videos on all the little trinkets in there. Because there was certainly also the Lothal statue stuff, at least certainly of the Force deities from Rebels and the Clone Wars. So they had that for sure. Let's see. After the loud chit chat, Skarsgård and Mothma get to the real talk and how everything is squeezing down by the Empire. Constant new faces, spies everywhere, dogs and cats living together. What are you effectively, lady? You're a spy a spy for the rebellion. Mothma makes it clear that clear and present danger she's under, though it is seeming to get a bit squeamish, as she does think she'd be the first to fall. Well, not necessarily. And I said, well, not necessarily. If you've covered your tracks well enough, we're supposed to believe this person is one of the leaders that helped bring down the brilliant Palpatine, who duped an entire galaxy to become a galactic empire. Come on. Seems they already have an Imperial insider. He's none too happy either about this sudden new addition, and Bella's again doing what she can to smooth over the tension going on due to pressure of all this. I'm just gonna keep going. This is not going to be smooth. Not going to be a smooth operation. It feels like as Gorn is definitely not liking the sudden addition, as they're low on supplies as it is, and cover stories to boot. Plus, Andor is beat up a bit, which for Gorn makes it seem troubling. Yeah, this isn't going to end well, huh? And Mon Mothma and her husband, with goofy pony knot thing, getting into an argument over dinner guests. Star Wars! Must everything be boring and sad? That was what her husband was saying to her. And I said, boring yes. Sad. This shows a lot of things, but sad. Nah, just boring and dumb. I should really go back to rewatching Better Call Saul. Back to the planning brigade. Wow, this is Doc Brown levels of detail for a miniature model of their plan. Really detailed, even parts to remove to see the inner bits. Good on you, lot, for a group that seems almost nomadic with the patrols and all. You take it with you or what? So this mission is going to be goddamn suicide. Neat. It seems they're relying on a planetary event to give themselves shielding to the TIE fighters so they can get out and maybe not be a suicide mission. Maybe. We'll see. Like I said, I got a feeling the baby face is going to die. Andor makes it clear. Yes, he is all in on this goofy suicide mission. Let's go. Back to Imp DeGeneres and Imp Blevin as they have their pissing match to their superior officer on the matter of jurisdictional overreach or not. Blevin does make a good point, though. If she's had security breaches at her locations, she should be pursuing those areas more in depth. Bring better intel to the table than her feelings or gut instinct. I mean, trust the science, right? Bring facts. So she was from enforcement, whatever that may be. I can only guess like a military police. That was the only thing I could probably assess that that's what enforcement was, unless it was just more bureaucratic desk work.
Right.
And I said, okay, again, the major is wanting just the facts, ma'am. He's again making possible points that she doesn't refute other than through her quote gut and fifis. Once Blevin leaves, he does have a little chat with Imperial DeGeneres, and again points out she is overseeing 2 sectors while Blevin has 6. He is handed in reports, she has not. But he does give her kudos and saying she has a bright future so long as she shows the work back again. In other words, evidence. Despite it, he gives her kudos on the detention reports she had handed in. So she isn't wholly oppressed like the actor made it seem in the press meetings. Andor, getting more the details of the mission that's going to take place, has to learn a lot of language stuff, etc. Cheekily asks if he can eat first, but it's settled for that evening and end of the episode. Thank God.
Okay, well, I'll knock mine out because I just probably have a page or 2 left. So I said Gandalf addressing the group asks if so Gandalf is addressing the group. They ask if she trusts him with their lives. Her response is that that's my choice to make. These are legitimate questions that they're asking, and then all.
They're not out of line for wanting to ask and find out the sort of information about what's going on.
I'm not mad at that.
And,
I mean,
who this guy is to know that they can go into this mission confidently that he has their back as much as they have each other's backs.
Yeah. So I was like, wow, okay. I mean, fair questions, and it's like that's my choice to make. Anyways, finally, Vil says that she trusts him after 5 minutes of screen time together. Meanwhile, Luthen is awaiting Mon Mothma's arrival. Mon Mothma looking for a gift for her husband, his day of days, a Chandrilian custom. Luthen offers her the old Utapawan monk cudgel, whatever that is.
That was like, huh. I mean, but we didn't really get a whole lot seen for Utapawan battle or whatever.
Right. Mon Mothma. And here's the other thing. So it's like you take the time to learn about the Utapawan culture and what they use, but you can't even get the freaking Inquisitor right, who was Utapawan. It's so stupid. Mon Mothma looking to expand Perrin's taste beyond fighting implements. And then I put, was that look? I said that look, was it on purpose? Question mark. The girl to to Mon Mothma when I don't know, the girl that was talking to the guy about the coins. Oh, you got these boring coins in. There was a look. I don't know if you caught it. I don't know if it's like a look of like. So there was I said Mon Mothma looking to expand Perrin's taste beyond fighting implements. That look, was it on purpose? So there was I said,
I think she was trying to give him a look of let's go, and is kind of like we need privacy to talk.
Yeah. I put a signal to get away to discuss the rebellion topics, ? Maybe Andor ? Ironically, Luthen has something in the back. Luthen calls out Mon Mothma on her ability to deliver credits. Luthen needs to plan for contingencies. Mon Mothma says it's getting very dangerous to move it around. She can't pull funds like she used to. They're watching her now.
You know, that's the thing though. If like Mon Mothma I'm only going to believe she had in the proper EU, but let a proper disguise and was playing her part as she needed to be played. I wouldn't think she would be under severe investigation. I mean, even Bale was, like I said, again, Bale made it clear that he was told by Padme that, you keep being the good little senator, essentially. And that's what he said he was going to do. And it might sound like he has betrayed, everything that he believes in, but in truth, he's just trying to keep the Empire Sheev off his ass.
Yeah.
And that would be exactly what he would tell Mon Mothma. And that was why they kept their names in particular off of the list of 2,000 senators that were trying to effectively force Palpatine to take a step down.
Yeah. So I put so it's like they're watching her now, and I said they're watching everyone. I put maybe that's why Bale bailed ? Because where's Bale? Like we have not seen like Bale. Is equally.
He's probably keeping his head down after the debacle of the stupid Inquisitor mess.
Probably, but it's like, where's Bale? So she claims that there's spies in the Senate every day. She visits the bank and there's new faces. Is she losing her conviction ? Mon Mothma states that she has someone that she can bring in. Who is it ? Bale ? Mon Mothma departs in a Rolls Royce of speeders. Oh, how reminiscent of a bygone era. The swoop bike, not the scout. I said not. Oh dear. I said how reminiscent of a bygone era. The swoop bike, but not a scout trooper, but maybe an imperial spy ? The imp spy, Lieutenant Gorn, very upset that he was not consulted about bringing Clementine into the fold. Lieutenant Gorn asks who he is. Gandalf responds with, he's Clem, he's here, that's all that matters. Like, seriously, this response? Mon Mothma at her humble abode, not very humble, sees a dining room table for a king's feasts.
So that was kind of the funny thing. Like, I did not expect that scene to. I should have elaborated on that a little bit more, because that was certainly not the scene I was really thinking I was going to be walking into. Was that they were going to squabble quite like that? And even again, OG Star Wars made a comment about it, and I kind of chimed in because it's like because there's this Andor news channel that said Perrin and Mon's marriage is as complex as any I've ever written in any show I've ever done or any movie I've ever written. Their relationship, how they negotiate it, where it ends up, the shifting power dynamics of it, as complicated as any I've ever worked on. Tony Gilroy. And OG Star Wars chimed in with, for someone as open-minded and fights for rights, this is very unsettling to see Mon Mothma even consider this relationship. Talk about not knowing your legacy characters. And that was how I kind of got the, more legacy characters are getting destroyed. Even the female legacy characters are getting destroyed. Not all of them are being that propped up.
Right.
And I chimed in with and I said when that scene came up, I was expecting different dynamics for some reason. I don't know why, but I was actually expecting maybe more a cohesive unit, more like they were going to be kind of in line and helping each other out. Instead, it turns into a squabble over sitting arrangements. And how she even says how she'll, don't put me near them because I'll certainly say something. It's like, here's the person that was just getting apparently frightened that she's going to be found at any moment. And yet here you are. That's not the part you're supposed to be playing. You're supposed to be keeping quiet, towing the line effectively and being, hidden, but out in the open. Right.
Right.
So that it all makes no sense. And I thought, they'd be maybe a little more in tandem together, but then it's like
polar opposites.
Yeah. And so I said, instead, this is my assumption, but from what we've only from what we've seen, and I said, instead they went with what I can only guess is a marriage of political convenience, or the husband is just a selfish oaf with a douche hairstyle. So nothing complicated, very typical TV. This is basically how, now TV husbands are portrayed as just basically selfish oafs and, half retarded or whatever, and making poor decisions right and left. So it just kind of came off as typical, unlike what Gilroy thinks is complicated. Yeah. Unless we're going to get more of that complication later on. For right now, no, he just comes off as kind of a retard.
Yeah.
Sorry.
No, you're good. The whole dynamic doesn't really.
Like I said, I don't know why I expected something different. I just did. And I was, I expected nothing, yet I was still disappointed.
Oh dear. Where did I leave off at? Okay, yeah. So basically, she enters her humble abode that's not so humble, sees a dining room table for a king of feasts, or for a feast of kings. Asks what this is all for. Her husband says it's for the governor of Hannah, a dinner tonight. I'm just gonna say is old Mon's shocked that it's tonight. Mothma sees Top Knot's guest list and states that you can't be serious. They all hate her and try to undo everything that she does. Top Knot doesn't really care. Yeah, so like, what are your thoughts on that? It's like
that's part of what I mean. It just seems really, like I said, she should be towing the line. She should not. I mean, it just comes off as their typical soapboxing that they want to do, that no matter what, they're always fighting the good fight when they're supposed to be keeping quiet while they do these things on the side, basically in secret. They're not supposed to be showing their political hands in front of everyone. They should just be going, absolutely, yes, these people are right. We should be,
you should be playing. You should be like, you should be, playing the game on both sides of the field, not just one. Exactly. So, they basically try and do everything she does. Top Knot doesn't really care. Says perhaps they'll think twice. I said, "Oh, do I see a fight ensuing?" Mon Mothma says to Top Knot, move that up. Mon Mothma. Oh, yeah. So basically, Mon Mothma is telling Top Knot that he should have made her aware of it. Top Knot states that it's a bit late to cancel, but at your pleasure. Well played, Perrin.
Even though that they apparently discussed this dinner thing, but apparently the guest list was left off the talking point. Which just almost seems like she's becoming needlessly bitchy about it.
Yeah, I think we're pretty much on the same page with our notes, because I said Mothma states, "Don't sit near me." Top Knot.
I didn't really take big notes on that whole scene, but I thought this all came up in my mind later. Of like, wow, this was really just. Yeah,
because then he says, she's like, don't sit there near me, and Top Knot says, no worries. that she's at the boar end of the table and these people are fun. Shots fired.
Yeah,
And
like
this is just a pointless
needless little sniping that I really wasn't expecting.
Have you guys been married for like 42 years? Like, this is literally pointless. But I put Mon Mothma doesn't really think that they're fun. Must everything be? And so this is funny. So he says, "Must everything be boring and sad?"
Yeah, that was the one thing I made note about.
This show was boring and sad. Like,
like I said, sad, just more boring and stupid.
So fast forward to this, and I was like, oh, what a neat little diorama. We have the crew of 7 planning an attack. Clem states, this is a suicide run. Gandalf agrees. This comment, that's why they only keep a 40-man regiment in the garrison, because they know no one is stupid enough to try it. Lieutenant Gorn tells a story once every 3 years of the Aldanis gather at this valley for the event, blah, 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 and a meteor shower. And basically, I'll cut my notes down. Basically, I was saying that it's not really a shower, but he says a recurrent band of crystallized inoculant micro densities. They've calculated an escape route right before the eye closes. Like, this is like the dumbest thing ever. So like, they're gonna go into this thing and they're gonna use a meteor shower that's not really a meteor shower, but they're like basically kyber crystals.
Well, like I said, they're trying to rely on a planetary event, which, yes, it has a routine of happening, but I mean, what effectiveness does it really have for protecting you?
Nothing. Like, there's no but he's got plot armor, so that they really don't need a plan because they're, it's got plot armor. But I said T-minus 3 days. That's your cover. Gandalf says Clem doesn't have a lot of time to learn what he needs to learn, and he needs to learn it if he's in. And then I just said brother and sister fighting over the incident report on Ferrix. Dad comes in and settles the matter. Dad thinks Miro is wasting time. They work off evidence, not feelings. Dad states Miro has 2 sectors to supervise. Blevin has 6. Burn. His reports are in, yours are not. Yet you're spending valuable time with this issue. Bug eyes over here. I said Kumbaya over here eating. Idris Elba's cousin asking Clem if he knows how to use this device. It's an Aldani phrase book. Clementine just wants to eat first. Gandalf instructs him to eat first. China's checking your bandage, and you have to learn this all by morning the end. Oh my goodness gracious! What a terrible, boring episode.
I mean, this is like I mentioned, I should just go back to watching Better Call Saul, and Breaking Bad, Better Call Saul, definitely 2 shows that have a slow burn getting to certain things. So I am not not somebody outside that realm of enjoying what can be a build and. Again, it wouldn't
be bad if they
but it's nothing
correctly.
Treat the characters correctly, have the atmosphere of Star Wars, and just have it a little more competently acted.
My problem with like this whole scene between Mothma and her husband, it's like she's like, don't sit them near me. Like, if you're a spy of the rebellion, you should be able to
sit near anyone and put on the best show possible.
The old adage, keep your friends close, but your enemies closer.
Exactly.
You should be, sit them by me. Absolutely.
Yeah, you should be the epitome of that phrase.
How the hell do you think she learned all?
Exactly.
But even
like I said earlier, this is supposed to be the person that was, basically going head to head with Sheev after a point. Probably after he dissolved the Senate. That was called, all bets are off. We now need to get this shit done because Sheev has just gone full 9.
There's no, I mean, it makes sense. Like, if Mon Mothma is acting like this currently, there's spies everywhere, and she's like, I can't sit by them because, then no wonder there's spies watching you. Like, you should be like Two-Face. Like, literally, you should be playing.
She should basically be
a senator.
To compare it to another show, she should be effectively the Littlefinger, like from Game of Thrones, playing all these sides as well as she was.
And you're not.
Sorry, go ahead.
I was just saying, but she's not. So therefore, she's a perfect candidate to be suspect.
Yeah, She's made herself the target.
She's not trying to sit by the senator from, Dathomir Trandosia. She's not choosing to sit by this skunk hole over here. We should be, she's giving them every reason to be suspect.
Yeah, exactly.
It's just so bad. I don't know, man. Like I said, I was like the three things was the TIE fighter, the swoop bike sound, and maybe the outfits, and that was absolutely the only thing that
was Star Wars, yeah.
And then like literally like her home, this whole scene, I was like, how much is she making as a senator on Coruscant?
Yeah, is it her money or is it her husband's money that she's living so comfortably on?
And what does her husband do? Last time I checked,
that's not really explained either. Like what? Yeah. Other than he clearly, rubs elbows with these other senators too.
So only three things, but like a lot of the writing, I think, is just kind of just was done sloppy. Like they don't
know how to treat a legacy character. Like we just read in that article earlier. They basically took what was Mon Mothma, threw it out the window. Also, they could basically craft it in their own image. That was what they were doing.
To come up with some legitimate questions, like in the show, and then to give the response like, it'll be my decision to make, or he's claiming he's here, that's all that matters. Like
it's funny. It's like Mon Mothma was not by any means a perfect leader either. She had flaws and bad moments too, but the thing was that she was still effective and knew how to lead and help and did what could be done with the help of also Leia. She was a big key component in helping bring a lot of these factions together, especially after the fall of the Empire, to help build on promises made and who did what during the war and stuff like that. So they've certainly now just taken her and turned her into just kind of an incompetent. Well, I guess she's Disney. Mon Mothma is Nancy Pelosi.
I don't even want to watch episode 5.
How many characters now do we have? Basically, Hash Brown, not my, not my Luke Skywalker, not my Kyle Katarn, not my now Mon Mothma.
But why?
Not my Obi-Wan Kenobi.
And so like my one thing I want to talk about before we wrap up is like, where is Bail in this? This is 5 years before Rogue One, and this is 14 years after Revenge of the Sith. So where is Bail?
Yeah, I'm still wondering if he's gonna make an appearance at all, because he wasn't using any of the promotional trailers and stuff like that. So I don't know. It's kind
here's my question though: is Kenobi tied to Andor? Is this the same I don't want to say universe, but is this the same? I guess, for lack of better terms, the same universe. Like, are they tied? I guess
everything is tied in. Yes, everything is supposed to be within their continuity. So we know how inconsistent that is.
Yeah, but I guess the better did the events in Kenobi, like how far after is Andor from Kenobi?
Andor is like 5 years, like it is 5 years prior, so this is 5 years after, because Kenobi was 10 years in. This is 5 years. This is 5 years before, so 5 years after Kenobi. So like I said earlier, my only guess is that Bail is trying to lay low after his fuck up with the whole Kenobi situation.
So like that's legit a thing then. I mean okay. That's
all. In their universe, it's all a thing, right?
Yeah. Head hurts.
Just a bit.
Well, this was. My brain. This is mush, man. Like, I don't even want to watch 5. When are we going back to Bad Batch?
Well, now we got to see what they do for the stupid mission. What kind of? I'm like I said, I'm curious if Babyface is gonna die. And just what is the importance of this whole plan? I mean, there's got to be some greater. I mean, are they actually stealing funds? Is that what the Imperial payroll is? They're stealing the actual credits to fund their little revolution. I mean, I guess I got to know what are your answers for this bullshit.
I don't know. I don't know where they're gonna go with it.
Oh God!
But it's yeah, I don't know.
Neither.
Not excited.
I mean, I won't lie. There's a part of me that does want to go back to Bad Batch as well.
I mean, I'm ready to go. Let's do it.
No, let's stay committed to this, and then we'll get back to it. Maybe. Oh God, am I gonna say it's gonna be like a palate cleanser? Oh Jesus.
Yeah, probably. I'm giving you an out. Giving you every out that Val gave. Freaking what's his name?
Nope. We're gonna. At least I know I'll like I said, I'm kind of immune to, not immune, but I'm certainly have built up a tolerance to some horrible fucking content. So, I am willing to stick this out till the end. We started it. We'll finish it. Damn it.
So excited. Wonderful episode.
I know. Hey, calm down. You don't need to get super excited. Just bring it down a little bit.
Well, we still any announcements then? Since I'm survived, I'm going to reassess how I do my notes next week. This was a little bit much, so hopefully it won't be too bad, and I won't have to. I do like how I did it, but it was a lot, so I'll have to cut them down next time, and maybe just hit like the
I was gonna sound points, yeah.
So I did like it, but yeah, I'll tweak it. But there's a lot that just bothered me, so it's fine.
That's absolutely fine.
Any announcements we still on for tomorrow? Hopefully
we are. I mean, as far as I know, we are absolutely still on for tomorrow to do our usual.
Davios will not be joining us, unfortunately.
Probably not. Thankfully, I should be able to play longer tomorrow, unlike last week where I cut it short. Since work, I won't be going as in early on Monday, so
beautiful. So
I'm good to try and play longer than before. So that'll be good. That'll be good. Yeah. That'll be fun.
So
we'll probably get through most of Tatooine tomorrow.
Yeah, I just need to get my Rancor.
Yeah. Even on the market, we looked. Man, that Rancor is stupid expensive.
Is it really?
Yeah, it's ridiculously expensive.
That's how many credits? 200,000? Is it a
million? Isn't it a millions? If I remember right, like 200 million or something like that. Which
for even a Rancor.
Yeah, well, especially that one because it's only during the special events that you can get it.
That's so stupid.
Hey, that's how they're supposed to encourage you to come back out for these little events and partake. So yeah.
All right.
But tomorrow, 5:30 p.m., we will be playing more SUTOR. Keep an eye on our channels for that. I might be changing things up. I don't know yet. I'm thinking. Otherwise, check us out.
What are you changing?
You don't need to worry.
Okay.
Otherwise, to everybody, thank you that have shown up. Thank you very much for popping in and listening to our madness, to our ramblings and rantings and what have you. It's always fun. It's always very cleansing in and of itself to just get that those annoyances off our chest. We'll always have something to talk about. That's the great thing about this, right?
It's the gift that keeps on giving.
Absolutely. So to everyone, have a good night. We'll see you next Saturday night for fun and excitement. Well. And then for tomorrow as well. So with that, I say a good night.
What is thy bidding, my master?
Yeah, I should have known from the very beginning. From what you said. Yeah, when the mega powers were formed. Yeah, what you were out for from the very beginning. Yeah, you were after what was mine. I remember what you said.
You can destroy the Emperor. Join me. Together, we can rule the galaxy as father and son.
Yeah, that one was rough. Those words right there. Yeah, I got stuck, yeah, but I swallowed it anyway. Didn't like the taste, but I swallowed it anyway, yeah. But I remember the time when there was a conquistador out of the ring, the one that's so jealous that he can't stand it, yeah. Yeah, you came in there with your poses, yeah, but you made a big idiot out of yourself, yeah. And speaking of idiot things, what about that stupid idea? Did you forget that one? Think back. That right there sealed your fate. Yeah, that put the madness over the edge. But I'll tell you what felt even better here was in the dressing room, in the first aid room. Me being unselfish, yeah, said go ahead, do the thing, yeah. You won't steal my thunder, no. When you take a look at the madness's eyes, all you're gonna see is complete and utter rage.